Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, go ahead and put it in the form that is down in the description right now. I think I've got a link to it stuck somewhere up here as well. Wait a minute, did my message get retracted? I hope not. Hold on, I think I just unpinned it. I don't know what's going on. Okay, here we go. We're going to go ahead and pin it. Okay, replace pin message. Let's do that. So basically the form's pinned at the very top of the description right now. So make sure that you get your question in that form so that I can try to get it answered on the show today. Now, I do want to let you know if you are new to this show, or if you are, just, swinging by, this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy will help you optimize your videos for discovery. TubeBuddy will help you find the right keywords for your videos. TubeBuddy will help you do all kinds of different stuff for your YouTube channel. There's 90 different tools inside of TubeBuddy that you can start using today, and it will all help you with your YouTube channel. You can try TubeBuddy free through the link in the description down below, or you can, or you can go to tubebuddy.com/Nimmin so you can see what TubeBuddy can do for you. And as a heads up, if you have under 1,000 subscribers, if you decide to upgrade, they have free tools. They also have paid tools. If you decide to start using some of the paid ones, then you actually they hook you up with a discount because they're trying to help you get started. Now, in addition to that, this stream is co-sponsored by StreamYard, which is the streaming tool that I use to live stream the show every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And the reason that I use StreamYard is because it's easy. I don't have any tech headaches with it. I don't have any problems. If I end up having a problem, it's always because of my camera, or because I forgot to turn something on somewhere, or because of my machine here. The problem isn't ever StreamYard, so that's why I use StreamYard. But in addition to that, they make it easy to put graphics on the screen like you can see right now on your screen. In addition to that, they make it really easy to bring on guests. And I've got a guest coming on here later today as well. Maybe multiple, I'm not sure, but I do have a guest coming on later in the stream today, so you're absolutely going to enjoy that conversation as well. So that's what's up. And I hope that you've had an awesome week, and I hope that you are excited and just ready to, to learn some stuff today about YouTube. My goal is, as we are going through this process today, as we are going through all the information and the questions that you have about YouTube, my goal is that you're going to leave today with some type of information that's going to be actionable that you can start applying to your YouTube channel right now. And one thing that I do want to mention as well is, if you hear one of these questions come up and it might not be exactly in alignment with what it is that you're doing on your YouTube channel, but some of the information might still apply to you. So just have your channel open. I recommend that you have your channel open in another window if you're on a computer, or maybe on another device if you're on a phone. And as I'm going through and I'm answering some of these questions, anything that you think might apply to you, you go ahead and you're looking at your channel and thinking like, okay, yeah, can I do anything, with that information as well? And with that all out of the way, I'm like super pumped up to get started today. Mr. Camera Junkie, what's up, my man? Nice to see you in here. Albie Cat Channel, nice to see you here as well. Albie-tastic, nice to see you. My man, hope that you're doing fantastic. Video for Bosses, nice to see you in here as well. Shark Scrapper, nice to see you. Hope everybody's just having a great start to your weekend. If you're getting started over on that side of the planet, if you're over on this side of the planet, I hope that you're having a awesome start to your evening. So we're going to go ahead and just get into the juice here. Let's go ahead and just start getting into some content for you, start giving you some answers to some of these questions that you might have. And again, if you are just joining us, we're talking about YouTube, and I'm trying to help you with, I'm trying to just demystify YouTube for you. That's basically what I'm doing here today. So there's a form that is pinned to the very top of the chat right now. If you got a question, go ahead and make sure you get it in there. So the very first question that we have today is from Absolutely Random, is the name of the YouTube channel. Absolutely Random says that they do gaming and random content, and the goal of the channel is to make content people will watch and make people happy and have an impact. And the question, how regularly should I live stream? So how many live streamers do we have here? If you live stream, just say me, just so I can, just kind of get a pulse on how many live streamers we have going on here. But basically, when you are considering when you should live stream your videos, it really comes down to what it is you're trying to do on your channel. It comes down to the tolerance of the people that you're streaming to, and it comes down to just your availability. If you're somebody that doesn't work or anything, then in that case, you could live stream all the time if you wanted to. Like, hey, I'm going to wake up and go and just start live streaming and then just shut it off, at the end of the day. Like, you could take that approach. But if you have, other stuff going on, then of course it's going to limit the amount of time that you can stream. So what I recommend is that however often you stream, even if it's just once a week like I do, that you just pick a day or several days and you commit to those days for a long period of time. Let's say the next year. so that you reassess everything this time next year and just kind of see what's happened, see the growth that you've gotten from the channel and so on. But I would just pick a schedule and commit to it right now. So Tonka the Malamute, aka Waterwolf, says it's normal to watch a channel with over 50,000 subscribers to just start losing subscribers every day for the past 8 months without changing the content schedule. So when it comes to losing subscribers on a YouTube channel, and you're verified, so I'm sure you have this experience as well on your channel, at least some form of it. But basically, when it comes to losing subscribers on your YouTube channel, just a heads up, like the reason that you lose subscribers is because when people subscribe to YouTube channels, their interests change over time. So because of that, you might lose subscribers. In addition to that, if you've made no changes whatsoever, if you haven't done anything differently, then in that case, there's also the side to where people, will lose interest over time in channels, and that's just a normal thing. But in addition to that, there's also the side of, if there's been any bots hitting your channel and subscribing and things like that, then when YouTube does those purges or they go through and they're deleting some of those bot accounts, that can also ripple down through through the channels that they've interacted with as well. So keep that in mind when it comes to any loss that you've taken on subscribers. But just a heads up, in my YouTube career, on this channel, I've lost over 250,000 subscribers since I started here. And, so just hang in there. Don't sweat it. But what you do want to do though is, if you do notice like a big leak, then one thing that I would do is I would go into your analytics, and if you go into advanced mode, then you'll be able to click the little plus icon, and then you'll be able to choose the subscribers lost, add that, and then sort videos by subscribers lost. And that's going to give you insight into where they're going or what videos people might have unsubscribed to. And then in terms of actionable information that you can use there, then you can start to understand. In your case, if you haven't changed anything, then it's not going to, then in your case, it's not going to be a big deal. But for everybody else, what you would do is you'd be like, okay, every time I publish this type of video, or a video on this topic, or video about this thing, or outside of my normal content, or whatever the thing is, whatever you happen to notice on your channel, then by looking in your analytics there, you're going to be able to see the specific videos that people are, leaving from. And then you can think to yourself, okay, this particular video or this stack of videos, I had, a substantial amount of people unsubscribing from these. And then you have to start thinking about why, right? Like, what about these videos? Were they outside of my niche? Was I doing something a little bit more edgy than I normally do? Was I not being edgy enough when I normally am? Like, what is it? And then you start coming up with theories on why people could have left that, so that you can test those theories in additional content that you publish. So really quick, Martin says, hey, thank you for the help. I got monetized this weekend. It took 18 hours from applying to get accepted. Martin, high five and fist bump to you, my man. Congratulations on getting into the partner program. Absolutely love seeing that. Brad, what's up, man? Jerry, nice to see you guys here as well. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. So the next question that we have, I'm just going to keep on scrolling down here to the bottom. So the next question that we have on our list today is Online Earning. It's from Online Earning is the name of the YouTube channel. They've been on YouTube for less than 6 months. And the question is, or the goal of the channel says, my mission is for teaching others affiliate marketing and other ways to make money online. And the question, please, I do upload videos daily, but I don't get views and subscribers. Please, I need help on what I should do. I'll be very grateful if my question is answered. Your question is definitely getting answered. So if you're publishing content every single day, but you're not getting views, slow it down a little bit. And the reason I recommend that you slow it down a little bit is because you're putting out content en masse right now. Like, you're just cranking out videos and you're not moving the needle at all. And if you're not moving the needle at all, that means that you're having some type of fail point when you're publishing your videos. So what I mean by that is, if you're not getting any traction at all and you're putting out daily content, then in that case, you really need to start spending some of that time that you would spend publishing, daily videos, publish less and spend more time trying to figure out how to make better videos that people respond to at a higher rate, figure out how to make thumbnails and titles and video topics that people will respond to at a higher rate, so that as people start responding to it at a higher rate, that's how YouTube, or that's how you end up getting, more views on your videos. So if you're getting nothing, then that means that, essentially, like, you can't even get people to click at this point in time. And that's okay. When people start out on YouTube, when they start out with anything new, there's always a learning curve involved, and YouTube is no different. So because of that, just make sure that if you're thinking like, oh, no wonder, then if you're bummed out about that, don't be. Just think, okay, all that means is I have to roll up my sleeves, and I have to, start getting very intentional about the titles that I'm writing, about the thumbnails that I'm making. Maybe if I'm just throwing out random things, maybe I need to start doing a little bit of research first before I come up with the topic of the video to make, so I can prove people are interested in a very specific piece of, content that I'm putting out. But in your case, you're doing stuff about making money online. So, I mean, everybody's interested in making, money, but when it comes to making online, like, there's definitely interest in that. But what you want to think of is, if you're just putting that content out and you're not getting any activity, then right at the very front of it, right at that very first point of contact that you're having with viewers, if YouTube is giving you impressions, which means they're showing your videos to people, if they're showing your videos to people and they're not clicking on them, which in turn means you're not getting any views. But if they're showing your videos to people and they're not clicking on them, then in that case, you need to start focusing on, okay, how do I get people to click on what it is that I'm doing? And spend the time learning how to write titles, how to make thumbnails for your videos. Because at the end of the day, you can have a great video, but if you can't get people to click on it, then, then you're stuck, so to speak. So because of that, I would really just upload less right now and spend time crafting your videos in a way that people will either respond to it at the video level or they'll respond to it at the click level. And then hopefully once those two things start happening, then naturally people will start to engage more and things like that. So let's see here. As we keep on going here, we've got the Canva Classroom. Canva Classroom says that they help people learn how to use Camtasia. And the question is, I'm currently publishing 3 times a week with good momentum in both engagement, subscribers, and watch time. I'm very close to that 500 subscriber milestone. I'm considering temporarily reducing it in February to twice per week, but what are your insights on doing that? If you need to do that just for the sake of, your, workflow and all of that, then absolutely go for it. But just keep in mind, all it takes is one video to take up the slack of, the extra video that you would have published. So just keep that in mind. So when it comes to, if you're publishing 3 times per week and you're getting some serious momentum, if you're getting like serious momentum, I'll be honest with you, I would keep doing what you're doing, so that you can, keep that ball rolling for, a little bit longer and just kind of, keep everything, moving forward. But of course, experiment. Like if you're like, hey, I need some time to, just make better videos, or I just need some time to myself or whatever the thing is, then in that case, absolutely, pull it back a little bit. And in some cases you might find that, you're uploading videos 3 times per week and you're getting a certain result, and then you switch down to 1 video per week or 2 videos per week and you get a same result or better. So because of that, definitely experiment with it and see if you notice any difference. But really, if it was me and I was picking up some like serious momentum, I would keep going for a while, at least with the three videos per week, as long as, it's not too stressful or anything. Because you got to make sure you're enjoying yourself, right? It's what we're doing this for. It's all fun, right? It's all fun and games. So you got to make sure it's all fun and games till you end up stressed out, right? So because of that, just make sure that you're giving yourself the the time that you need. Frizzo is the next channel that we are going to be talking about here, and Frizzo does educational healthcare. And the goal of the channel is to influence change and behavior and lifestyle that positively affects the health of patients' lives. And the question: how can I get the most out of playlists as a new YouTuber? My niche is nursing and my micro niche, patient self-management. My strategy is to draw attention to patients through their illness equals high overall score in TubeBuddy. At the end screen, I'll lead them into my playlist to experience the rest of my content about self-management so they can lift life above the disease. So the best way to use your playlists as a new YouTuber is to create very short playlists. I'm not sure how long your videos are, but what you want to think about is, I'm going to make little short playlists, let's say, 2 videos or 3 videos if my videos are like 5 minutes long, so that I can use those to start creating little sets of videos that make sense for people to watch them together. So for example, if you have like one way that they can fix themselves or that they can, help, get over their illness faster, here, then you publish that video into that playlist, and then, two more videos on, how they can, overcome that thing that they're dealing with. But then you drive people into that particular playlist, but you just keep it short so that you can get a higher complete rate on that particular playlist. But if you find like, hey, people are crushing through all of these, three, then by all means, add a fourth one to it to see, if people continue responding to it. But at the end of the day, what you need to think about is the viewer in terms of, if I'm leading them into this playlist, what is the likelihood of them getting through the content in this playlist? And if that likelihood is pretty high based on your videos being, relatively shorter, then in that case, just put, a few videos in there, versus let's say if you're doing like 20-minute videos, then in that case, I would keep the playlist, extremely short, like 2 videos, maybe even 3 still. Somebody might be able to listen to it in the background. But if you're showing things on screen and stuff like that, I would keep the videos relatively short going into the playlists. Next up on our list, also with that, another quick side note here on the playlists, and I'm just getting going here, just get my energy. But basically, when it comes to the playlists, another thing that you want to think about is if you are, putting those playlists together and you're thinking of your content instead of I'm making one video at a time, you're thinking of it as I'm making videos that will make sense to go together as a set in a playlist. Another thing that you want to make sure that you're thinking about is you also want to make sure that you mark that playlist as a series playlist. And by doing that, according to YouTube, you increase the likelihood of YouTube showing the content, or at least testing the content in the playlist next to other videos in that playlist. And as long as people end up watching the videos together, then it kind of creates a relationship between the videos. Because one of the things that YouTube looks at when it comes to videos that they suggest is, of course, the viewer's interest and, what the viewer's watching at that point in time. But if they're interacting with your channel and they're suggesting your content, then in that particular case, one of the things that they say is that videos that people typically watch together are videos that are likely to get suggested together. So because of that, what you want to think about is okay, if people are coming in and they're interacting with this one video, then I'm going to try to send them to this next video that makes sense, of course, through that playlist, so that people are watching these videos together, but they're also getting tons of value in it and they're enjoying how I've set all of that stuff up. If you can do that, then you're also increasing the likelihood with that series playlist. It's just a little box that you check in your playlist settings. But by doing that, you're increasing the likelihood of YouTube testing your content next to the other videos that people are watching in that playlist. Let's see here. So Turbo the Tech Nerd says, does anyone else notice that Nick has not one, but at least 2 cups of coffee today? Yeah, so this is 1 cup of coffee right here, and that's all I'm drinking. This one right here is just a little cup that I sit right here to get that TubeBuddy logo in there. So we've got the TubeBuddy logo there, and then we've also got it on the pillow there that is back there on the floor by the light there in the background. Like, that's what's going on there. Turbo the Tech Nerd. So Explorer Hearth, what's up? Welcome to the chat today. Friso, what's up? Hope that you're doing awesome. So the next one that we have here is from Kayfabe Club. Kayfabe Club says, wrestling short video essays is the type of channel. The goal of the channel is to build a community and future merch store. And the question is, what is your opinion on a video essays channel? How can a channel stand out with video essays and keep a high retention rate? Really good video essays. And I know that sounds like, okay, well, that's an easy cop out, and it kind of is, but just like any other type of content on YouTube, you have to go through the process of learning how to make your video essays in a way that people respond to in a positive way, and they might be already, but basically the idea is hey, what's up, Kitty? Hope you're doing awesome. What's up, Little Crafty Nook? Nice to see you in here. But basically, as you are putting your content together, if you notice in your audience retention reports that people just aren't, hanging out for that long or whatever, then in that particular case, you need to make sure that you're working on that so that you can make sure that you are constantly trying to improve the experience that the viewers are having with your content. And all of that is reflected in your audience retention reports. It's reflected in the comments that you get, the likes that you get, the shares you get, and so on. So what you need to think about when it comes to making a better video essay is, one, what I would do, or what I would tell you to do in this situation, is go and look at the other channels that do video essays that are doing well. And when they publish videos, they do well. Go look at those and start writing down, okay, first, they start talking about this, then they start talking about this, and then they do this. And also take additional notes. Like, what does the audio quality sound like? How often are they switching, subjects, or how often are they switching what they're showing on the screen? Things like that. Another thing that you want to do, because success leaves clues, another thing that you want to do is you also want to go in and you want to look at the topics that they're talking about, but you also want to look at how they're actually structuring their titles to try to grab the attention of the people that are interested in that type of content. You also want to look at their thumbnails and see what it is that they're doing with their thumbnails so that you can, possibly draw some inspiration from it. Don't copy it, but just so you can, draw some inspiration. But more importantly, so you can start to identify across your niche of other people who make content like yours, you can start to identify things like, okay, the videos that do well, they typically do these things. And if you're studying those channels, then you'll be able to identify what those things are for your particular space. Daniel Batal in the house. What's up, my dude? Hope you're doing awesome. Fox, the cutest dog in the West. Hope that you're doing great. So let's see here. So as we keep on going here, we've got on our list today, Baking with Charlene. Hope you're doing awesome today. We've got Frizzo in the house. Says they do education and healthcare. The goal of the channel is to influence change in behavior and lifestyle that positively affects the health of patients' lives. And the question is, how can I get the most out of playlist? Oh, we did that one already. Okay. So that one was just put in there another time. So let's do this again. And we've got Rax Barbecue and Grill. Nice. Got a barbecue channel in here. They do cooking content. The goal of the channel is I just enjoy cooking. And this is just an excuse. It's just an extension of that. An excuse. It's just an excuse for cooking. No, it's an extension of cooking. And the question, can you explain the videos growing your audience section? I understand that they're videos that are bringing back viewers, but the low stat is confusing if it's saying that it's performing well. So growing your audience versus the videos just performing well by themselves are two totally different things. Because if it's growing your audience, it's getting in front of more new people that are being able to subscribe to your YouTube channel versus, just bringing your normal subscribers back and not expanding the channel of sorts. So that's the way that you want to that's the thing that you want to think about when you're looking at that particular tab. I'm actually going to do a video on that soon, so make sure that you stay tuned to the channel for that. I'm going to start doing some analytic stuff on the channel, I think. I'm at least going to test some videos on it, and I'm going to see how you guys respond to it. If you don't respond, then of course I have to do the YouTube thing and not make them anymore. But we'll see how it goes. So the type of channel here in this case from VM Designs is a graphic design and arts channel. The goal of the channel says I want to add YouTube ads as one of my income streams. And the question, what is your take on short form 30-second YouTube videos? Not shorts. They do well with search and recommendations? ? So if you do short form landscape videos. Hey, what's up, Mark Lewis? Nice to see you in here. If you do short form landscape videos that are not made for the short shelf, in that case, a video, if you're trying to get monetized, because you said for ad revenue, in order to get monetized or for ads to be available for a video, once you qualify, a video has to be longer than a minute unless they've changed the rules within the last 6 months. So because of that, you want to make your videos at least a minute if you are going to be using this as a, using YouTube ads as one of your income streams. So just make sure you keep that in mind. But one of the things you can do just to confirm what I said is hop on Google, make sure nothing's changed, within the last 6 months in terms of that, what makes a video, be able to have ads on it. But in that particular case, you just want to make sure you're thinking of that. But in addition to that, in terms of like search and recommendations, they can definitely get, views on them. They can definitely get, traction and all of that. But keep in mind, YouTube is trying to get as much watch time per impression as possible. And just, when you make videos that short, again, they can perform well. There's channels that publish videos that are like 1 minute and 1 second long or 2 minutes long, and they just get crushed. However, keep in mind that YouTube's looking to generate as much watch time per impression as possible from everywhere. So because of that, your click-through rate is going to have to be substantially high in order to really be able to capitalize on, 30-second videos. But the most important part there is just making sure, or basically just making sure if you're trying to use this as one of your income streams, make sure that you do just hop on Google, confirm that you have to have the video that is longer than a minute. But really, like if you're doing that type of content, like just as a quick heads up, like if you're just gonna give like quick graphic design tips and things like that, I would just do that as a short, because the likelihood, even though like you can't really monetize through the ads right now. In that case, they have their shorts fund, but you can't, you know, just directly monetize through ads in the short shelf, but you can monetize if they do show up somewhere else on the platform. But basically, like, if you're trying to get the channel started, then in that case, you might want to just go at it with the shorts. If you're wanting to do the short form content like that, just make shorts for it. And then the advantage that you're going to have there is if you are just going to make these short videos, you're going to be given quick tips to what it is that you're doing. If you just go ahead and just make it shorts and you intend it for the short shelf, then you can go ahead and do that. And then you're seeding it all and you're growing your channel that way, waiting for them to start monetizing that content through ads. But more importantly, you can also repurpose that content to TikTok and to Instagram Reels, where you can get you know, money from it, and you can also expand your exposure that way, which is really cool because if you do that and you also have little calls to action or a little watermark on your video or whatever that leads them to your design service, then in that case you're going to be making, you know, ad revenue, plus you're constantly spreading awareness about your actual design service as well, which means that you're also going to be able to amplify your business that way also. Corky Duke,
super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thanks for swinging by. Hope that you're doing awesome. So let's see here. So as we keep on going, our next question here, we've got Studio Sec. Studio Sec says that they do cyber security education. The goal of the channel is educate folks on cybersecurity topics by presenting an enjoyable viewing experience. And okay. And the question: what are the strategies to success in getting videos featured in browse? Any thumbnail, title tips, and tricks that work better in browse as opposed to search? Absolutely. I love this question. So the difference, and I just explained this in our members live stream that we had the other day, but basically the difference is if you're going for search, the very first thing starts with the video idea itself, right? And when it comes to video idea, a search-based video would be something like how to do something, right? How to do something or how to fix something or, you know, whatever. So basically anything that people are looking for around the type of content that you make, basically all you have to do is say, okay, people are looking for it in this way, so I'm going to write my title in that way, plus try to add something compelling to either the title and or the thumbnail that helps me stand out from the other videos in the search results. But all I have to do is I have to take that thing that they're looking for in YouTube search, and all you have to do is go up to YouTube search and type it in, start typing in information around the topic of content that you make, and then they're going to show you a drop down of ways that people are looking for what it is that you're doing. So you make content around those, and then you put them in YouTube search. And the thing with search, and this is one of the things that I mention here a lot, is that when it comes to search, people are actively looking for your content. So it's easy to get people to click on the content, and the likelihood of people watching your videos for a little bit longer and all that, it's all higher because they're looking for what it is that you made. They're expecting to see the content, and they're actually wanting a very specific value out of that content. So it's easy, right? Now, the difference is, if you're going for browse traffic, like we'll do this with an iPhone, right? Let's just say that I was doing a video on this case, right? And if I was going for search, then the case right here, maybe I would say something along the lines of, you know, if people are looking for like the best cases for an iPhone or something like that, maybe that would be the thing that I would go for search, like best iPhone cases 2022, right? And then I would, you know, in the thumbnail, you know, maybe I'd have a cool shot of the case or whatever, and like that would, you know, essentially be it. Best iPhone cases for 2022. And technically that could also be a good one for browse as well, and even suggested. But another way to think about it is when it comes to browse traffic, again, remember, because I said we start at the topic. So if you're going for home pages, in that case, you can take a totally different approach. And you can, of course, from the video idea side, and I'm spitballing this, by the way, but from the video idea side, you could say something along the lines of, like you could make an entire video, because it starts at the topic level, about how much stress can you put on this case for it to, you know, before it actually like breaks this case or whatever, right? So in that case, your thumbnail would be something crazy, like, you know, like a car driving over the case with the iPhone in it or whatever. And then the whole thing would be like, you know, this case, you know, withstood this steamroller, or will this case, you know, withstand the steamroller or something like that. That's a very extreme version, but that is, you know, the difference there between if you're going, you know, for browser suggested. Another version of that is,
if you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Let's say that you are, and I use this A10 Mini just because this one's just an easy one to do this with. Let's say that just to kind of reframe that same idea, and keep in mind this applies to, you know, most people's content. But basically, another way to reframe that idea is at the topic level with this A10 Mini, because this is what I use to do my camera switching. With the A10 Mini, at the topic level, you could make a video about, you know, like how to set up an A10 Mini, right? And then that would be a search-based video. And that would be for people that have an A10 Mini that are looking to figure out how to set it up. And you're targeting that very specific person that's wanting that very specific value out of that how to set up an A10 Mini video. The browse version is topic level, right? We're trying to grab their attention. We're gonna, you know, take them through this and show them, you know, all the features of it and how, you know, you're implementing it into your stream. But the difference is, from a browse feature standpoint, you're looking at it from the perspective of like, hey, I'm going to do my thumbnail, something along the lines of, you know, focusing on, you know, one of those deals. And the title would be something like, you know, this device changed the way that I live stream. And then what you just did in that case is you took the topic itself out of a very super narrow audience of people that already have that device, and you just, made the content more accessible, or more, you just broaden the potential audience for that particular video, and you just took it to live streamers instead, right? And by doing that, you opened up the audience, made the audience bigger, but you also mentioned that like this changed the way that you live stream. So people that are not familiar with that, you know, it's like, oh, I'm a live streamer. This changed the way that they live stream. You know, let me click into that and see what's going on. So what you want to think about is you want to, I'm the same way, Renee. Yeah, Renee's like his ATEM flickers at a rate that when combined with his camera frame rate, it makes his beard look like it's strobing. But what you want to think about is basically when it goes to the you know, when you're trying to get the browse features, then in that particular case, you have to think of it from the perspective of, I'm trying to grab someone's attention, or everybody's attention that, you know, would be a potential fit for this video. I'm trying to grab people's attention that are not expecting to watch this video, right? So like I said before about search, those people are looking for what it is you have. They're expecting a very specific value out of the content that they're looking for. When it comes to search, or I'm sorry, when it comes to, you know, browse features, all of them, then in that particular case, you have to grab somebody's attention. So I want you to think about this. One of the browse features is the subscribe feed. So right there out of the gate, you are competing with other channels that viewer has already shown interest in enough that they subscribe to those channels. Home pages, there YouTube is showing you the content that their system thinks that you're most likely to enjoy at that point in time. And because of that, you're competing with all of this other content that YouTube thinks is a great fit for that viewer. So you have to make sure that when you're making content for, you know, when you're trying to grab attention from browse and suggested, you have to make sure that you're thinking of it from the perspective of, like, people are not expecting to watch this video. They're logging onto YouTube to watch Nick. They're logging onto YouTube to watch Kitty Robinson. They're logging onto YouTube to watch Fox, the cutest dog in the West. And I'm trying to grab their attention from whatever it is that they're coming onto YouTube to watch, right? So that's the way that you want to think about it in terms of the difference between you know, browse and search. So hopefully that makes sense. But other little details as well is like when it comes to browse traffic, you can also put, depending on the type of, you know, content you're making, you can also put like with your cybersecurity education, for example, you know, make sure that you're using words that will also help people, you know, identify, you know, that your content's something they would be interested in. Make sure the imagery in your thumbnails is crystal clear. And with your type of content, and I'm just going to be transparent with you here, I would dip a couple of toes into the fear side and leverage fear as well to try to grab that attention from home pages also. And what I mean by that is, you know, these 3 things make your computer vulnerable to hackers, right? Those types of, you know, statements in order to, you know, make a big impact. So when people do see that thumbnail and title, they're like, oh, I don't know what these things are, but let me check it out to make sure that I have these holes filled, so to speak. So, you know, you can also do that sort of thing as well. So next up on our list here, that was a pretty long answer to that question. But the next question that we have here is from Play Lyrics. Play Lyrics says they do a lyrics video channel. The goal of the channel is expressing my talent from editing lyrical videos. I want to express my love for the music I've used. And the question, can lyrics video monetized with bulk, wait, hold on. Can be lyrics video will monetize with bulk of copyright claim? So if you get copyright claims, then in that case, you can, if you get, if you have too many, if like all your videos are getting claimed, then there's a really good chance. I mean, you're going to have to go through the process to see, but there's a really good chance that you might have some difficulty getting monetized. So because of that, if possible, I would start using music that you're not going to get claimed on so that you can get into the partner program. Once you're in the partner program, then from there, you can start getting a little bit more creative. But I would, hop on like Epidemic Sound or something like that. But if you're on lyric videos, you're going to need stuff with lyrics in it. They do have some content like that, but unfortunately it's not popular music in terms of, something that you might grab off of, like Apple Music, for example, in their, like featured section. Like it's not that type of music. So because of that, you might have some difficulty, but, go through the process and see what you run into. But one thing that you, can also run into there is, like if you're getting a lot of copyright claims, then, like they're going to be claiming your ad revenue anyway. So like, even if you get monetized, then basically all you're doing is going to work essentially for all the people that you're using their music. So, if you just keep getting claim after claim after claim with all the videos that you're uploading, then even if you were in the partner program, then they would be claiming your ad revenue. So, the approach that you're taking here is, no matter which direction you go, it seems that you're going to run into a wall in terms of, being able to, capitalize on the income side of it. So because of that, I would, just keep that in mind. Next question that we have on this list is one Pablo 957. Just so you know, Pablo, 957 in Thai language is cow. Ha, Jet. That's 957. But anyway, type channels, gaming content. The goal of the channel is to provide a sense of hobby for myself and love what I do most. The question, how do I get views naturally, basically without asking people to view them and finding them on recommended? So the way that you get, hey, what's up, Tom? Hope you're doing awesome, man. Says, Nick, I'm sipping coffee and enjoying your wisdom. So basically what you want to, thanks for swinging by, Tom. Basically what you want to think about is if you're trying to get views naturally, which is what you should be doing, you do not need to ask people to watch your videos, right? Like ultimately what you want is you want to publish videos to YouTube and have people start enjoying that content to where YouTube deems it as something competitive for the platform. And once they do that, then they'll start showing it to more people because people will be responding to it at a competitive rate. So when it comes to getting views naturally, you have to be able to get people to click on your video that's step number one, right? One, you got to publish videos, but then, you got to get people to click on them as that first thing. So because of that, that's why we're always stressing to make sure that you're really thinking through the topics of the videos, making sure that you're really thinking through the titles of your videos and through your thumbnails, and that you're not just putting something together and just getting it up there like, okay, hey, this video's done. Let me make a thumbnail real quick and get it up there. You want to make sure that you're really thinking it through and thinking to yourself, okay, if this were to show up on a homepage, why would somebody click on this? If this were to show up in search, why would somebody click on it there? If this were to show up recommended next to another piece of content, why would somebody click on it there? If this were to show up in somebody's subscription feed, why would this be important to them there? And you just want to go through that exercise and think to yourself like, okay, from all these different places, what about this package in terms of the topic, title, and thumbnail? What about this package is going to resonate with the people that I'm trying to reach with this content? That's what you want to think about with every thumbnail you make, every video that you put together, every topic that you come up with, every title that you write, is how in the world or why in the world would the people that I'm trying to reach click on this? How easy is it for them to identify that this content is something that they might care about? How easy is it for them to understand, how I've written my title? Because, a lot of people will write titles for YouTube and like the language side is just a mess, like grammatically, it's just all over the place to where, it's hard to even read. So it's like, like how do I put all this stuff together in a way to where people are going to respond to it from, the different surfaces on YouTube, but define it. And what I mean by that is make sure that, as you're doing it, that you're thinking to yourself, that you're being intentional and you're thinking to yourself, why, if somebody loads up YouTube on their phone and they're sitting there and they're going through their home feed on their phone, they're sitting there scrolling. What about my topic, title, and thumbnail would make the people that I'm trying to reach stop in their tracks and be like, oh, I want to check this video out? That's the thing that you need to make sure that you're defining. Okay. And then once they click on it, then the next thing, because you're trying to get views naturally, that was the question if you're just joining us. Once they click on it, then at that point in time, then you have to start running through that exercise again. Okay. What about the very beginning of my video? Why would somebody stick around, through this first 10 seconds of my video? Why would somebody stick around through this first 30 seconds, this first minute? What exactly am I telling them? What exactly am I showing them? What value am I giving them within that first, parts of the video in order to make them stick around? And think about that with every single video that you make. When somebody starts this video, what about it is something that, like how can I define it in terms of a reason that somebody would want to stick around and watch this video? Because at the end of the day, if you're wanting to grow naturally, which is something that we all do, if you want to grow naturally on YouTube and not have to ask people to check out your videos and stuff like that, you have to understand that YouTube, all they want is for people to enjoy your content. If you're making content that people enjoy and that they click on and that they engage with, then in that particular case, as long as you're doing it at a level that is competitive with the other videos on the platform, then in that case, you're going to grow naturally. So you got to make sure that you're focusing on those things that I'm talking about in terms of defining that, reason that the topic's important, defining the reason that thumbnail is going to grab their attention, defining the reason that that title is going to cause that person, it's going to be compelling enough to cause that person to want to click into your video. And then of course, once they do, making sure that you're being intentional about how you're putting your videos together. Ang Yi Earn says, I hope that I can become famous one day. So here's the thing. I like, just as a heads up for you, like, I've got some years on me. So I've got some life experience. Hoping doesn't get you anywhere, right? Hoping doesn't get you anywhere. What you need to do, Ang Yi M, is you got to make a plan and you have to put it into action. You have to make it happen because, like opportunities, are always knocking, right? There's always doors in front of us, always opportunities, but we have to be prepared for those opportunities in order for us to be able to, to take advantage of the opportunity. So, I really recommend that, and I know that you're probably just saying that in passing, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that instead of being like, oh, I hope I can be famous one day, like roll up your sleeves and get dirty in terms of like, hey, I'm gonna figure out, how to make videos that people love, and I'm going to, publish them consistently, and I'm going to interact with my audience, and I'm going to, grow a brand essentially here on the internet. So, if you want to become, famous, then start every single day being like, okay, what action can I take today that's going to move me one step forward to what it is that I want, and take those actions every single day. And the next thing you know, it'll be a year later, 6 months later, 2 years later, 5 years later, whatever the thing is. And you're going to be like, holy cow, I did it. Right? Like a lot of people know who I am, right? Like if it's, YouTube based, then in that case, it's like, hey, a lot of people know who I am. I've got a, good YouTube channel. People are digging what it is that I'm doing. But in order to do that though, you got to, every single day, or, as often as you can, within reason, you got to make sure that you're, taking the action in order to make it happen, because, crossing your fingers is not a good strategy ever. So, so make sure that you are, going after it, because the spots are there. Hey, what's up, Ron? Strains and things. Hope you're doing awesome, man. But like the spots are there, the spots are there for you. Your audience is waiting for you. You just have to go through the process of doing the work in order to go through the process. Like Chantel here says, to do the work, you have to go through that process in order to get yourself in front of them, because they're waiting for you. So let's see here. Next one that we have here on our list is from Normal Mode TV. And Normal Mode TV says they do video game reviews, and the goal of the channel is to get better for now, but eventually go full time. And the question is, thank you for all that you do for small creators. My pleasure. Says, do you recommend a small channel stay on trending topics or focus on what they're most passionate about? When you're growing your YouTube channel, what I recommend that you do, because you do video game reviews, so I would definitely talk about popular games. But if you have games that you're passionate about that you want to talk about also, then I would definitely talk about those. So I would do both. So basically, if you know that a game is going to be, like, hey, this company's getting ready to release this game, I know it's going to be big, then, making content on that game is a really good idea, because it's going to bring attention to your YouTube channel as you start making that content. If it's on, if you're like the first people out there, putting out content on that thing. So because of that, you definitely, with everybody here, if you pay attention to trends on a regular basis, you're going to find all kinds of opportunity there to where you can give like little surges of traffic to yourself, so to speak. So absolutely ride trends when you can. But of course, for long-term sustainability on YouTube, you have to make sure, and it's not something you have to be passionate about per se, but you got to make sure that you are doing something that you enjoy. And the reason for that is because if you're doing something that you don't enjoy, then it's going to be hard to get yourself going when things aren't, like the initial part, right? Like it's going to be hard to get you through that filter that a lot of people don't make it through if you aren't doing something that you enjoy, because sometimes it can take a while to get going. And the people that end up falling off are the ones that they weren't really into it as much as they thought they were. One thing I see all the time on Reddit is people, and this is in some of the new YouTuber groups over there, but you have people go into Reddit and they're like, oh man, I just, every fiber of my being wants to be a YouTube content creator. But I just can't find the motivation to make videos. And, if somebody's in that situation, when I see comments like that, my reply to those is, well, if every fiber of your being, wanted to be a YouTuber, then you would wake up every day and you'd be like pumped to make videos, that you wouldn't even have to find motivation, so to speak, in order to make the content. You would just do it because you're really passionate about it and you really enjoy it. So you have to make sure that you are being, real with yourself, so to speak, in terms of, like how much you want it, how much you're into it, the time that you're willing to put, the things that you're willing to learn, the skills that you're willing to develop in order to make it all happen. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, we've got G Spider. G Spider says they do game reviews and collecting. And let's see here. They do, the main goal of the channel is to build a community of people who love games. And my personal goal is to learn more about film production. Super cool. How many gamers do we have here? If you're a gamer, just check in, just say me. But the question, how would you recommend I come back to YouTube after a 6-month break? Just come back. Don't worry about apology videos. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just start publishing the content that people enjoy from you. Do that. And just go through that process just like you were doing before. Just start publishing on a regular basis and make sure that you're putting, all of your effort into it, so that the videos that you are publishing, are videos that, that can get a good response. Magic Flying Potato Gamer. We got Altair Stealth as a gamer. We got Juggernauted, that's a gamer. We got Mezzamame TV, that's a gamer checking in. We've got our Okie Homestead's a gamer. Big Mike's a gamer. Iron Wolf's a gamer. Legend of Now gamer. Yes, we got a lot of gamers in here. Loved it. Love it, I should say. So, okay, so next up, let me refresh this here because it's not pulling the information. Give me 1 second here, Doug. I'm having to refresh this here. Okay, I see him now. Okay, so the next question that we have here is actually a super chat. Thank you, History Explained, for that. It says, I just finished your 2017 interview with the Institute of Economic Thought. It answered many of the questions I had about life as an expat. Thanks. My pleasure. I'm not sure exactly, because I've done a lot of things like that. I'm not sure exactly which one that is, but I'm super glad that you enjoyed that episode. Shoot that to me on like Twitter DM or something, just so I can have some insight on like which one you're talking about. Because off the top of my head, I can't remember that specific one. So definitely, shoot it over my way if you wouldn't mind doing that. That would be super cool. And Fox, the cutest dog in the West, says, I appreciate you, longtime friend. Thank you, Fox. I appreciate the super chat there, and I'm sure Popcorn, my dog, would enjoy that comment. So next up on our list here, as we keep on trucking through this list here, I'm trying to get through as many of these in the forum today as we possibly can, because I know a lot of people have questions. I want to try to get, as many people here answered as I possibly can today. So Chef Bill, because I got a guest coming on here a little bit later, possibly multiple guests. So because of that, trying to stay focused here and just try to keep cranking through these as much as I want to, get derailed a little bit. So the next question here is from Chef Bill. Chef Bill says they do cooking and sketch comedy. The goal of the channel is to make memorable recipes. Question, how do you pivot when your retention is very bad, but you don't want to change your core vision for your channel? Make better videos. And I know that's not the answer that you're looking for, but I'm just being truthful with you. So if your retention is bad, it's not that you need to pivot. It's that you need to learn how to record and edit your videos in a way that people will respond to them better, so that you will increase your retention, so that your videos will perform better on the platform. So it's not about, pivoting the entire channel because your retention isn't good. It's about learning how to make your retention better through paying attention to your audience retention reports. And if you're a new YouTube content creator, you're not sure what that means, your audience retention reports are a graph that YouTube shows us for every single video that we publish that shows us how people respond to our videos second by second on average. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are going in and you are looking at that, and that you are coming up with theories on why you think people were leaving in certain parts or sticking around in certain parts. And then you want to start testing those theories against new content that you publish. So for example, if you notice, hey, right at the beginning of my video, people are leaving like crazy, then in that case, you know, because you have the data right in front of you, you know, okay, people are like bottoming out right when my video starts. So because of that, I need to work on how I'm starting my videos. Like what people are seeing and hearing when my videos first start, I need to work on that part until I can raise how people are responding to my videos when they first come into them, right? And it works like that through the entire video. So in your case, I wouldn't be thinking about it from a perspective of like, I'm going to pivot. I would be thinking of it from the perspective of I got to learn how to get my content better. Now, if you are wanting to pivot the channel completely in terms of topic, which I don't think you are, because you say that you don't want to change the core vision for your channel. So because of that, yeah, I would just focus on the actual, video content itself, because if you focus on that and you try to, learn how your audience responds to your content so that you can use that information to make better videos for them, that's what you ultimately want to do. Let's see here. Let me go down to the bottom here. And really quick, Midnight Road Garage, thank you for the super chat, saying thank you for all your great tips. My pleasure. Glad that you are enjoying the content. Thank you for your support. Cook with Joy, thank you as well for the super sticker. Super appreciated. Chef Bill, my pleasure. Glad that you are enjoying the info here today. And right now, just as a heads up for people that are asking questions in the chat, right now I'm pulling them out of the form that is actually pinned to the top of the chat right now. But I will be hopping into the chat for like lightning rounds here a little bit later. So how you're doing that by putting a question or a Q in front of it, that's the right approach. We're just not there yet on jumping into the comments. But sometimes I do if I see them and I'm like, okay, it's something that I can answer really quick. So we'll just do a couple really quick since I see two on my screen right now that I can do. So the very first one is how am I changing all the camera angles? So I'm changing the camera angles through one of these, an A10 Mini. And basically through this, the one that I'm using is an ISO, so it allows me to record if I want to as well. But basically it has these buttons on it, and I can put in 4 HDMI ports. I can put in 4 HDMI signals into this, and then basically this plugs into my computer as a webcam. I've got a link to this down in the description below. I've got a thing that says like, my monitor and like all that stuff down in the description. So if you click on that link, you'll see it. But basically it's called an A10 Mini, and then this comes with software that you can set up macros with. And with those macros, what it does is it lets you say this camera for this long, this camera for this long, this camera for this long, that camera for this long. And then you basically just build out these macros of what the transitions look like, or what the switching timing looks like. And then you basically build that out, and then you put it on loop, and then it'll go ahead and switch them for you while you're streaming. So next up on our list here, we've got, and this one's coming from the form. You know what? I was going to grab the other one, but I actually scrolled down, and when I scrolled down, I actually lost the other comment. So this one's from. Did I do Chef Bill already? How do your retention very bad? Yeah. Okay, so we did that one with Chef Bill already. And next up, we've got Fox, the cutest dog in the West, says they have a cute dog channel. The goal of the channel is to make people happy watching and make money, of course. And the question, how is it that I have 128,000 subscribers, but only 100 to 200 views in a day across the whole channel? That can happen because you might have had like a video or 2 videos or just a handful of videos that are responsible for a lot of that subscriber gain. So one thing that you can do is if you go into your YouTube analytics, go into advanced mode, change your date range to 365 days, and you are going to be able to sort by the videos that have driven the most subscribers. So you can see the specific videos people are subscribing on. Now, what could have happened, and I'm not saying this is the case because I'm not familiar with the content on your channel, but what can happen is, let's say that you have some videos on your channel that are about, this thing, and they've been on there for a while, and those are the main videos that have grown your channel, but now you're publishing, you're focusing on cute dogs now. If the content that originally grew the channel wasn't, cute dog related stuff, then in that case, you could just be putting that cute dog content in front of the, I'm not going to say the wrong people because YouTube will figure it out over time. But if you have other videos that are bringing in a majority of the traffic, then those are the people that are most recently active on your channel. And when that happens, those are the people that are going to see your videos when you first publish them. And then when they don't respond to them, it hurts your click-through rate and then can cause your videos to just not get the initial exposure that they might, with your content. But if everything on your channel is, dog related, cute dog related and all that stuff, then in that case, it's going to come down to you looking at your click-through rate that you're getting on the videos that are not performing compared to the ones that are, compared to the amount of impressions that you're getting with them, looking at the overall engagement that you're getting on the videos that are performing well versus the ones that are not, looking at the actual retention on the videos as well, just to see how people are responding to them. Because basically how this whole thing works is, if people aren't clicking on your videos at a high rate, then obviously they're not going to be able, they're not going to have the opportunity to interact with your content. But once they click on them, how people start responding from that point forward in terms of just watching the video and how far they get in the video, what happens once they finish the video, if they if they like your video, comment, share it, add it to playlist, all that good stuff. Like all of those things are determining how much YouTube is going to be showing your content to more people. So what you want to start looking at, you're getting 100 to 200 views in a day. So what you want to start looking at is you want to start looking at the impressions that you're getting. And you want to see like, okay, how often is YouTube showing my content to people? Because if I'm getting 100 or 200 views, how often is YouTube showing my content to people? And that's going to be reflected by the impressions that you're getting. So let's say if you're getting, 100 to 200 views in a day, how many impressions do you need for that? And if you were to go through and start updating your thumbnails, maybe your titles, then would you be able to, convert people at a higher rate with the impressions that YouTube is currently giving you, which then in turn would get you past that 100 to 200 per day, right? So you just want to dig into your content and really start to understand how people are responding to it, because that response that they, like how people are responding to what it is that you're doing, your results are reflected in that response, right? So, the answer in your case is going to be in your analytics. Wake up, America! I'm using this box right here. It's called an ATEM Mini Pro. Basically, I'm using one of those. Mine's the ISO version. But basically, I can plug my HDMI cables into it. It supports up to 4 cameras. They have an extreme version too that holds up to 8 cameras, I believe. And yeah. That's what it is. So next up on our list here, we're like 16 questions in right now. This is great. We're cruising. So the next question here is from Wakefield Travel. Wakefield Travel says that they do travel content. The goal of the channel is to create helpful travel tips. Question, can one live stream if you have less than 100 subscribers? Yes, you can. You got to make sure your channel is verified, and then you can live stream through third-party apps or services on your phone. So if you're trying to stream from your computer, you can just go ahead and do it. But if you are trying to do it from your mobile device, then you'll need to use third-party apps like Prism, for example, in order to do that. You can also do it through StreamYard as well. Next up, we did Wakefield Travel already. So now we're on question number 18. So Lydia A says that they do entertainment content. The goal of the channel is to entertain others with fun challenges. And the question is, I've been on YouTube for over 4 years, and I've been watching you for 1 to 2 years, and I love your helpful content. Thank you for the kind words. Says, I was wondering how you start getting more organic subscribers and views without constantly using promos and stuff like that. So when it comes to that, is you don't want to use promos. You don't want to do any of that stuff. Like the thing that you ultimately want is you want people that are on the YouTube platform already to, when they see your video, to be like, oh, this looks interesting, and click on it and then come in and watch. That's what you want ultimately. But in order to make that happen, when YouTube first starts showing your content to people, you have to, get a response from them, and it has to be a positive response. And that's what I was talking about a second ago in terms of making sure that you're really thinking through your topic, your title, thumbnail, the actual video content itself. Like I recommend, like in your case, just so you can get some feedback, like I would join the channel membership, and I typically don't push that. But I would join the channel membership just so that, we could look at your channel during one of our streams, and so I can give you some legit feedback on your channel. Cause if you've been going for 1 to 2 years and you're like not getting any traction at all, 4 years and you're not getting any traction at all, then in that case, you definitely, could use some feedback. But in addition to that, There's like free Facebook groups that you can join as well, like Tube Ritual is one, video makers and marketers. In some cases, you can get feedback there, but you definitely need another set of eyes on your channel just to kind of just having another set of eyes is going to be really beneficial to you. And technically, you could grab anybody out of the chat here that participates on a regular basis, that would be willing to give you some feedback. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to you coming up with video topics that that you're proving that people are interested in, since you're doing entertainment content, fun challenges, stuff like that. That certain challenges, people respond to better just by studying the others in your space. Make sure that you are studying the others in your space with the type of content that you make. Look at how they're doing their titles, the things they're focusing on in their thumbnails. Look at the actual, prank topics that they're doing. Look at how they're opening their videos, the very specific things they're saying when their videos start for all the ones in your space that are performing well. And start studying the other channels that are making content like yours that are getting a positive response. Doug Hewson co-signing Tube Ritual there, saying Tube Ritual solid. Absolutely. Everybody here, like if you're a YouTube content creator, Brian G. Johnson, he's going to be on here later, but he has a Facebook group called Tube Ritual. Great Facebook group. So, if you're on Facebook, if you use it on a regular basis, I really recommend that you check out the Tube Ritual. It's completely free. The Tube Ritual Facebook group. Next on our list, we've got Wombear Maureen 100 Stance says they do entertainment content as well. And the goal of the channel is to keep people updated on the latest trends, celebrity news, stance, and share on lifestyle and be my own boss. And the question, can one video that has age restriction because it was showing an accident happen that is a bus submerging affect your entire remonetization? No, like that age restrictions, like it should not affect it. Of course, there might be some, like the person that is reviewing yours could be like, hey, don't like it, and they could give you the no. But really, that shouldn't have a negative impact on what it is that you're trying to do there with getting monetized or remonetized. All right, so let's see here. Next up on our list, we've got. Hold on, really quick. I think I see a homie in here. Hold on. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so next up on the list, we've got Abby Joy Studio. Abby Joy Studio says they do photography tips channel. Goal of the channel is to give photography tips and travel photo tips to newer photographers and eventually get travel brand deals. Nice. Love the vision. And the question, views and average view duration, retention rate 39 to 40% are higher than usual, but how come the views are only slightly increasing per day? How do I know if YouTube is pushing out my content? YouTube is pushing out your content when you look at your impressions on your video. Your impression is when YouTube an impression. I know a lot of YouTube content creators are in this chat right now that are new. So this is a YouTube language that you need to know. An impression is when YouTube shows your video to somebody on the platform. They show your thumbnail entitled to somebody on the platform. So what counts as an impression? An impression is when they show your content to somebody on the platform for more than 1 second, and it's more than 50% of your thumbnail. When that happens, then that counts as an impression. So if you're trying to figure out like, hey, is YouTube actually showing my content to people? Then you want to go and you want to see the impressions that you're getting for each video that you're uploading. So that's how you find that. So you find it. Simple Nail Design says, where do I find that? You find that by going into your YouTube analytics. So you can do this on a phone through the creator through the YouTube Studio app. And then on your computer, if you're doing this stuff on a computer, then you can do this through just by going up to the very top, clicking on your channel avatar, and then as you start rolling down the screen, you're going to see an option for Creator Studio. Click into that, and it's going to open you up to a whole world of YouTube data that is happening on your channel. You're going to be able to access all your videos in there. You're going to be able to look at all your stats in there, look at the audience retention reports for each individual video and all of that. But you can see your impressions that you're getting in there. Next up on our list here, and let me answer this one here really quick from the Eternal Samurai. Thank you for the super chat. Says, I often feel obligated to make videos to favor the algorithm keywords instead of videos that I want to make. I want to go full time, yet I'm trying to figure out how to be more authentic. Any tips? So right out of the gate, what I recommend that you do is that you also, like, if you want to make videos to favor the algorithm, so to speak, it's not just keywords. if you make videos that people respond to in a positive way that's competitive for the platform, then YouTube is going to, you know, show your videos to more people. So because of that, it doesn't, like, you don't have to target, you know, specific keywords. The keywords are there to help, you know, the human that might see that title understand that that's, you know, what's going on, unless you can find another way to you know, rephrase it in a way to where, you know, to where they might, you know, just see what's happening in your thumbnail or something like that and want to click on it. But the idea is to use keywords if you're targeting search specifically, or to use keywords towards the front of your title to help the viewer on YouTube have an idea of what your video is about, so they can know if they want to, you know, click on it or not. So when it comes to, you know, like, you feel like you're trapped in a box, like, when it comes to that, what I recommend that you do is, if you are, you know, doing mostly search-based content, I recommend that you sprinkle in content. Like, let's say you do 4 videos a month. I would do, you know, 1 or 2 of those videos that are like, hey, I'm going to try my hand here at trying to grab attention from the homepage. And from that, and suggested videos instead of just going after search. So what you want to do in that situation is, I went through this earlier, I don't know if you were here for it or not, but basically what you want to do is, you want to, as you're putting it all together, okay, the topic of this video, right? Because you got to start there. For the topic of this video, why would this topic be something of interest to people as they're logging onto YouTube? If somebody's going through their phone, they're scrolling through YouTube on their phone. What about the topic of this video would be something that the people that I'm trying to reach would think, like, oh, this is interesting, I want to check this out, right? Or, hey, I want to see what goes on here, I want to see what happens here, or whatever the thing is. And then same exact thing for your thumbnail. What about my thumbnail would help the people that I'm trying to reach identify that this content is something that they might be interested in? And what can I do with the thumbnail to make it just more compelling, in addition to it helping them identify? And then the next thing you want to think about is your title. With my title, what can I do there to help them identify that it's for them, but also to push them over the edge in terms of it being something that's compelling enough that they would be like, oh yeah, you know, this is definitely something that I want to check out. So trying your hand in terms of, you know, defining all of those things, and, you know, saying like a video or 2 per month, like, hey, like, keywords, if I use them, cool. If not, that's fine too. But I just have to go through that process of thinking about, when somebody logs onto YouTube, what about this content that I'm putting together would make somebody, you know, feel like they would be interested in this, or that they would, you know, want to click on this. So that's what you want to think about. And when it comes to trying to figure out how to be more authentic, really, like, with you being the person that's making the content, as long as you're just being the true version of yourself, then you are being authentic. But the thing that you might be running into is, if you do feel like you're like a slave to the algorithm, so to speak, then in that case, you know, you might feel like, hey, I'm having to put these videos out here, you know, with these keywords and optimize for search and all of this stuff, and I don't really want to do that. I want to do this other stuff. Then start working on the skill in terms of being able to, you know, grab that attention from the recommendation features on YouTube. So that would be my suggestion to you. So as we keep on going through the list here. We've got Fred D. Says, I want to adopt a pseudonym or fake name for myself and have that be the name of my channel, but I found a few small 100 plus subscribed channels with that same name. Is it still okay to use? What you want to do, I mean, yes, it is, but what you want to do is you want to go to the YouTube, or just go to the address bar on your computer or a browser in your phone, and type in your go to youtube.com/ and then the channel name, or the name that you're going to be using, and see if somebody has the actual custom URL for it. Because if they have 100 plus subscribers, they might. So if they don't have that custom URL, then in that case, just go ahead and go for it and try to get that 100 subscribers as fast as you can, so that you can secure that custom URL. But if they do have it, and you can do like another version. So like in your case, you have like Fred D. So in your case, you know, if somebody has whatever that D stands for, if they have that full name, then in that case, you know, try Fred with just the D, or F, and then the, you know, the long version of the last name, or, you know, just whatever variables you can do there. Other things you can do is you can do like Fred D official, Fred D, you know, content, you know, things like that to add to the back of it, so that it can still be you, but then you would have those additional things just for the custom URLs and stuff like that, so that you can secure those. Let's see here as we keep on going. But yeah, absolutely, it's okay to use, but just keep in mind, like when it does come to your channel name, like if you can be unique, it's better. So if you do find something, that you go to YouTube search, and as a heads up too, just a quick note, just in case you don't know this, if you go to YouTube search and you search for the channel name, they have a filter in YouTube search. If you click on filter, then you can actually choose channel, and then when you do that, you're going to see the channels with that name. So instead of it just being like videos and you have to dig through and figure out like who's using the name, it'll just show you a list of channels that are using that name. So I recommend that you do that as well, and just kind of get a feel for like how many people are using it. And if you do find that that it's just like everybody on YouTube has that name, you know what I mean? But if you find that tons of people have it, then in that case, you might want to try to come up with something else. Wake Up America podcast. Thank you for the super chat. Super appreciated. Says, thanks for this. The macro switching is awesome. Now, only if I could find out how to get away from the dreaded political YouTube shadow ban. The macro trip is worth the super chat. So when it comes to the shadow ban, since we're having that conversation, so what you want to do, the very first thing is, and you may or may not know this already, so I'm just sharing the information with you just in case. But if you go into your YouTube app, you go up into the settings, and do this on another account. Don't do it on the actual account for the channel. Do it on like your friends, on your friend's phone or something. But basically, what you want to do is you want to put your app into restricted mode. In order to do that, you open up the YouTube app, go into the settings for it. I think it's under General, and then you'll see a little toggle to where you can turn on restricted mode. And then you want to go to your YouTube channel, and you want to look at your videos tab, and then you're going to see, because you'll be in restricted mode, you'll see any of your content that is restricted. And if it's restricted there, then in that case, those are the videos that YouTube is, not showing to people, so to speak. But on the other side of that, a lot of people that make political content, or they make, we'll just call it like edgy content in terms of, just with all this stuff on the internet these days, there's risky, I don't know the word that we want to attach to it, but you know what I'm talking about. But like with that type of content, people often default, if they're not getting, good results on the channel, they'll often default to like, oh, YouTube is shadow banning it, that's why. But if you go and you look at your analytics, you might see a different story. Maybe not, but you might see a different story. So step number one is go and see your content that's being restricted, if any. If you find that a lot of your content is not restricted, then in that case, it comes down to how people are responding to the content that you're putting out. So because of that, that's where you need to start going in and looking at your click-through rate compared to the impressions that you're getting for each different traffic source. You need to go look at your audience retention to see how people are, responding to the content there. You need to look at the overall engagement that you're getting on your videos as well, because and also look at your impressions, because your impressions will show you if YouTube is actually showing your content to people or not. So if you're like, hey, I published this video and I got 0 impressions, then yeah, YouTube's not showing your content to anybody. But if you see like, hey, I got 100 impressions or 1,000 impressions or 10,000 impressions, then in that case, then YouTube is showing your content to people, but people just are not clicking on it. So because of that, you just want to go in to see if YouTube is, restricting your content or not. Then if you go and you just see if they're showing or giving you impressions or not, if you see impressions, then that means YouTube is showing your content to people, just people aren't responding. So then that's where you would go back and you would start working on, like your topics that you're talking about, the thumbnails that you're putting together, your titles and all of that, to see if you can, start getting people to respond at a higher rate in terms of the click. And then of course, once you start, getting that part of it together, then once they start watching the content itself, then you'll get, a lot of data as well in your audience retention in terms of how people are responding to each episode that you're putting out. So in some cases with podcasts, you might also, like long form content, it does well on YouTube, like, hour-long podcast, stuff like that. Like it does well on YouTube, but just for the sake of discovery, for people that might not be familiar with you yet, to where they might not be willing to commit to like a full hour, you might want to consider just putting out, like highlight clips and things like that, kind of like Joe Rogan does with his podcast, for the sake of just putting out content that doesn't require as much of a commitment from a new viewer that's not familiar with your stuff yet. And that will also give you more content that you can put out on the channel as well. Or you can also, do that on a separate channel like I do from time to time on my clips channel that I occasionally upload to. So just some food for thought for you there as well. So let's see here. Next up on our list here, we've got, as we keep on going down the list here, Okay, did we do Chris Scout yet? I don't think we did Chris Scout yet. Okay, we didn't. So we got Chris Scout YT here. They do daily content. They've been on YouTube for less than a year. They do gaming content, and the goal is to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year. And says, how do I use SEO to my advantage? So SEO, if you're a new content creator, SEO stands for search engine optimization. What that means is you optimize your videos so that when people are looking for them on YouTube, or they're looking for content like yours, your videos might show up there. And when they show up there, just because you optimize your videos for search in terms of the metadata, in terms of the things you write in your title and the things that you write in your description, just because you're doing that doesn't guarantee that you're going to end up ranking in search, because search is just like home pages. Search is just like suggested videos, to where YouTube is tracking when we show this in search, how do people respond to it? And if the other people that are showing up for the same search terms that you're trying to target, if they are getting a higher response than you, then your videos are going to get bumped down. And if you're getting a much better response than they are, then your videos will end up climbing through the ranks. And over time, you'll end up above the fold there in search. So in addition to optimizing it in terms of the things that you're saying in your title and all of that, and of course, you want to make sure you're thinking of the viewer when you're doing this as well. But in addition to what it is that you're saying in your title, you also have to make sure that you are putting out content that people respond to in a positive way. If you do that, then in terms of using search to your advantage, if you put out some content there, then you are doing a few things that can work in your favor. The very first is you're putting content there to where people are looking for what it is that you make, right? So when people are looking for what it is that you make, then of course it's easier to get views from those people. And they can also, if you have an entire channel about content like what it is that they're looking for, gaming in your case, then in that case, they can, come in through that search-based content, and then they can start to see like, hey, they got a lot more content like this. I love this channel. I'm going to subscribe or whatever. So there's that advantage. In addition to that, if you can get videos to show up in YouTube search based around the topics that you're talking about, then in that case, you also have the opportunity for your videos to show up in Google search, Yahoo search, and every other textual search engine that shows video results as well. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. In addition to that, if you are doing, SEO as part of your strategy, then you also want to make sure that as long as it's appropriate for the content that you're making, that you're also using chapters. And the reason for that is because chapters can also show up as search results in different places as well. So then what you want to make sure that you're doing is you're optimizing by making a great video. That's step number one, the most important. But then after that, you want to make sure that you're titling that video in a way around how people are looking for it. And then that you are that you're also making sure to add the chapters there, so that you're also giving yourself that one more additional advantage when it comes to search there.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Lydia, welcome to the Nimminati. Next time you get the chance, go to nimminvip.com. That is our members only Facebook group on Facebook. Members only Facebook group on Facebook. You see what I did there? So I'm gonna have another drink of coffee. But anyway, that's our members only Facebook group. It's going to redirect you to that. So make sure you fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a member. And if you can do that before the stream is complete, then I'll let you in there as soon as the stream is over. Today. And also, once you go in there, just a heads up, once you go in there, we also have, if you're wanting feedback on anything that you're doing, we have a post. It's announcement number 7. I think when you log into the group, you're going to see announcements at the top. Announcement number 7, there's a post there. It says something about like members live stream or whatever. And within that post, there's a long thread of channels there to where, people have posted their channels for feedback. If you want feedback on something, post it in that particular thread. And when you do that, make sure that you're just specific. Like, hey, this is the feedback that I'm looking for. These are the things that I want you to look at. I'll tell you more stuff, but I just want to make sure that when I am, looking at it during our live streams, that I give you, the information that you need in addition to, anything else that I might notice on the channel. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down our list here, what do we got here? 6 Scale Mafia. Whoa.
Super
There
chat.
we go. Thank you for the super chat. 6 Scale Mafia made me think of like 3-6 Mafia, because they're like 6 and the Mafia and all that stuff. But anyway, I'm 180 away from 1,000. High five, fist bump to you. Nice work. Yeah, that first 1,000. Whoop. Says, I talk about hot toys and Star Wars via live streams and do hot toy reviews. Any tips on hitting 1K? keep doing what you're doing, right? Because you're getting close. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you are only doing live streams, that might be an opportunity for you to structure your live stream in a way that it makes for a great piece of replay content. So what that means is you're not using any countdown timers. As soon as your stream starts, you just jump right into the content. You start doing that. You don't have any shout out sessions, nothing like that. Or if you do, you front load all of that. So you front load any of the fun stuff that you do at the beginning, any shout out sessions, anything like that. And then when you're ready to start for the replay, then in that case, what you do is you have that, next moment to where you do your hook. Hey, today, this is what we're doing. We're I'm going to show you, cause you're doing like reviews. So today we're reviewing, this toy or this thing. And I'm going to show you the ins and outs of it and let's get into it. And then you start your review. And what you do is after the stream is complete, right? Because your stream is going to be great for the people to participate live while you're there doing it. But then after your stream is complete, then what you've done, because you front loaded all the stuff that doesn't matter to that replay viewer, you can go into the YouTube editor and you can cut all that stuff off. So then you start at, today we're reviewing this particular toy. For somebody that comes in on the replay, they start their experience with, hey, today we're reviewing this particular toy, and let's get into it. And then, they start getting the content that they clicked and they expected. So because of that, that's what I would do. In terms of, hey, I'm trying to get to that 1,000, is I would be thinking really hard about the actual replay. Because, while you're live, it's awesome, but then you're going to have the viewers that are coming in after. So you want to make sure that you're structuring things in that way. And you want to do that all the way through the video or all the way through your stream. And then at the end of your stream, also do the thing where you're like, hey, by the way, you made it this far in the video. If you want to see more Star Wars review, click into this playlist right here. I'll see you next time. Right. So then that way you also have that handoff into more content of yours for people that want more. So that's what I would do. Let's see here. So as we keep on going. Oh, one more thing. Keep in mind when you do cut off the front end stuff that I was talking about, when you cut that off, you are going to lose your live stream replay chat. So just keep that in mind as well. So that's why you want to do all that front loading stuff there in terms of all that interaction that you're doing. You can do it in passing, but just don't put tons of focus on it during the stream so that when people are watching it on the replay, you don't have these pockets of time that doesn't make any sense to the viewer. So just keep that in mind too. Let's see here. So, Natalie Heels says, I submitted a Google form, just subbed to TubeBuddy. Also, how do you feel about recycling, re-editing, and reposting videos? So when it comes to, first off, you're going to love TubeBuddy. Second off, I've got videos, by the way, on how to use it. So a lot of people use TubeBuddy wrong. Like they'll put it in and then they'll use it incorrectly. And because of that, they'll be like, hey, this thing isn't helping me. So so make sure that if you look for TubeBuddy Nick Nimmin, I have one video specifically. It's basically me going, and then there's like a bunch of screenshots of like view counts on there. Watch that video specifically because I go through and I talk about the mistake that people make in terms of they put like full titles in there and things like that. If you are using the Keyword Explorer specifically, they got 90 different tools, but if you're using the Keyword Explorer specifically, you have to make sure that you're using it correctly so that it's giving you accurate information back. So make sure that you check out that video. But in terms of recycling and re-editing content, making your own compilation videos and things like that, that's totally fine. It's actually recommended by YouTube that you do those sorts of things. Like if you're in a situation to where like, oh, hey, I can't, publish videos. I broke my camera. I'm saving up for a new camera. So in the meantime, you can make like compilation videos or like, your favorite, like, hey, these are like 10 tips about something as an example here. Like these are 10 tips about something and I'm pulling like one tip from like 10 different videos. Like you can do that sort of thing to where you make unique new content by using the old content. So because of that, I definitely recommend it. In terms of reposting videos, if it's the same exact video, don't repost it. Make sure you edit a completely different experience. And I wouldn't do that like let's say you've published a video today. Like I wouldn't like re-edit it and publish a completely new version of that for like, 9 months, maybe a year, just because like you want to, have that video out and let people, enjoy that particular video. Share it in your community. Your community feed as your channel grows and you get that if you don't have it already. Share that video in your community feed on a regular basis, things like that. And then for the, for the re-edited version, then put a new intro on it, you know, like a year later, 9 months later, whatever, but put a you know, new intro on it so that that part of it's fresh, and then just lead them right into the content of that video. So totally support that idea. Renee Ritchie says, Screen Rant is compiling Ryan George's pitch meeting videos. Nice. Yeah, Ryan George is, oh man, he's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Let's see here, going down to the bottom of the list here, making sure I'm caught up everywhere. Let me check here. Video controllers, hobby, cooking with joy. Okay, making sure that we are that we're all caught up there. So next question that we have here, and we're gonna pull this one here from the form. This one. Let this page load. Loading response. Come on, load. There we go. So the next question comes from Vids by Tim. Tim says he does gaming content, and the goal of the channel is to create a community that loves gaming like me. And the question, how much time should I be putting into shorts? As much time as you need to get a response. So if you are you know, just doing really quick shorts and people are loving them, then just keep doing that. But if you're like, hey, people aren't really digging these, then, you know, just keep working on them until you get to a point to where you are making shorts that people are responding to, and you can understand why they're responding to them. So in terms of the specific amount of time, just put in, you know, whatever it takes. I mean, like if like with all of this stuff, right? Like if you want, you know, if you want results, then you have to go through the process of doing what you need to do in order to get those results, right? So in terms of the time, you know, just put in, you know, whatever it is that you need to do in order to get that response. Juggernauted. Let me find this here. There we go. Says, what is the best duration of videos to upload to YouTube being a new content creator in order to get more views and subscribers? You know, I wish I could tell you like, hey, upload a 7-minute video 1 time per week or 2 times per week, and that will be perfect and you'll do awesome. Like, I wish I could say that. But unfortunately, some people will start YouTube channels and they'll upload like 2-hour-long videos and they'll just blow up right out of the gate. Some people will start YouTube channels and they'll upload 2-minute videos and they'll blow up out of the gate. Sometimes people will do 2-hour-long videos or hour-long videos and it'll take them years to get any traction. Sometimes they'll upload videos that are 2 minutes long and it'll take them years to get traction. So it's not just the duration of the video, okay? When it comes to how long you're making your videos for, and this is gonna sound kind of weird, but videos should be as long as they need to be. So what that means is if you're gaming, cut out like loading screens, things like that, because they don't add any value to the people that are watching your content, right? Those particular things make the videos, they inflate the video time when it doesn't need to be inflated, right? Cut out those kinds of things. If you're doing training content or teaching people stuff, kind of like I do, then in that particular case, you want to share what it is that you want to share with them. And then once everything is shared, or you've taken them through, you know, the story or whatever the thing is, then in that case, like video's done, right? So don't inflate it longer than it needs to be. And the reason that's important is because average view duration in terms of total watch time is important, but so is percentage viewed. So when you inflate videos artificially and the viewers aren't responding to it in a positive way because it's clear that, you know, that you're just like not, you know, packing it with what it is that they came in for, then in that case, then people end up bailing on the video. And when that happens, then it ends up hurting the overall performance. So because of that, what you want to do is you want to think to yourself, okay, for the type of content that I'm making, one, just do a quick check on like, what's the standard for my space, right? That people are responding to currently. And by all you do there is you look at other channels who are doing well in your space, and not just huge channels, but you want to look at channels that, you know, like if you're just getting started, look at channels with like 1,000 subscribers that are growing. Look at channels with 10,000 subscribers that are growing, and just get an idea, like how long are their videos? What are they doing? Just to get some, you know, some type of information from your space. But basically collect that information and then just start making your videos based on the topics that you know, are wanting to get out there. And then use your audience retention reports to help guide you on the length. What I mean by that is this. Let's say you start out by making 20-minute videos or 10-minute videos. We'll just do 10 minutes to make it easy. Let's say you start out making 10-minute videos, but you find out that you can only keep people watching initially, right? Because you're saying, you know, for new content creators here. Let's say you find out that you can only initially really keep people watching for only about 5 minutes. Well, in that case, start making your videos like 6 or 7 minutes so that you can still keep them watching for 5 minutes, but then you're pushing right? You're pushing you're giving yourself that extra time to keep working on it so that you can try to push them to 6 minutes and then 7 minutes and so on, so that you can start learning how to keep people watching for those longer periods of time. Because if you're publishing, like a 10 or 15 minute video, but you can only keep people watching for 4 or 5 minutes, then there's no real reason to publish a 10 or 15 minute video, because you're putting in all of that extra work for no real benefit, because people aren't even watching the latter parts of the video. So just keep that in mind when it comes to the actual duration of the videos themselves. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, and just a quick side note on that too, is the reason that you want to think from that perspective is because everything on YouTube is about the viewers, right? Like as content creators, we're like, hey, it's about us. YouTube wants to give us views. It's not the case. They don't, they don't want any, like the system doesn't want anything. It doesn't have opinions. Basically everything is based on data and how people are interacting with your content. So if you are making content in a way, in terms of the length that your audience is responding to where, you're like, hey, I can keep people watching for 5 minutes. So I'm going to make 6-minute videos so I can get a higher average percentage viewed than what you're doing there. As long as you, have a good click-through rate on it and they're engaging further with the content, then in that case, you're giving yourself a really good shot at, at getting your videos in front of a lot more people. Whereas if you're doing 20-minute or 30-minute videos and like everybody's gone by like the 3-minute mark, then, making those long videos isn't doing anything for you, right? It's actually working against you in that case. So that's why you want to make sure that you're using your audience retention reports to get, the real data on how people are responding, and then work everything around that. Will Star, my man, hope you're doing awesome. Says, Nick, sorry I'm late. I found a 3-word phrase that scores 102 buddy keyword explorer that really fits my channel and videos. Where do I use that in my upcoming videos? Tags, title, and description, all 3. So with tags, it doesn't carry as much weight these days. So, just put it in there until they remove that box. Just go ahead and put it in there. But you also want to put it in your title. And then, of course, you also want to put it in your description in natural language. So don't stuff your description with a bunch of, keywords. You want to make sure that you're actually writing out a description and that you're including that particular phrase in your description. The things that carry the most weight is your actual title, but the description as well. But the title carries the most weight. And then, of course, the thing that's going to carry the most weight is how people actually respond to it once you publish it. So you're going to optimize it for the actual, keyword phrase that you're going for, that 3-word phrase. And then, it's going to live and die by how people, by how people respond to it. Let's see here. Hey, my pleasure. Glad that you are enjoying the content. Glad that you're enjoying the content as well. Simple Nail Designs. So as we keep on going, The Dark Knight, super cool. Love that. We got Batman in the house up there. So the next question that we have here on the list, because we're trying to keep crushing here on this form, we've got, and here in about 30 minutes, I'm going to bring a guest on as well, if they're available. I'm going to drop the link in there and see if they're available, but I think Brian G is coming on today. But let's see, and maybe some others too. Like, I'm dropping the link in there. Anybody that's in that group, is more than welcome to come on, of course, as always. But Treaton the Tree says they upload every other day. They do gaming content. The goal is to entertain people and build an online community. And the question, how do you keep up with YouTube momentum? So with anything, momentum comes from practice, right? Comes from practice. It comes from showing up consistently, and it comes from trying, like actively seeking to improve all the time. So if you start getting momentum on YouTube, what you want to do is you want to go in, you want to start paying really close attention to your data in terms of, like how people are responding to what it is that you're doing all the way through, because you'll be able to see, your click-through rate from all the different traffic sources, your audience retention, relative and absolute. You're going to be able to see, where your traffic is coming from. You're going to be able to see the people that are watching your videos in terms of where in the world they're watching from, the age demographics and all that, the devices that they're on, the whole 9. So you want to make sure that you get familiar with everything that's going on in your analytics. But the thing you want to focus on, though, is, of course, clicking, getting people to click, and making a piece of content that they're going to enjoy and be satisfied by once they click. And then, of course, trying to hand them off to additional content on your channel. That's ultimately what you're trying to go for. But when it comes to momentum, though, a lot of momentum, like you start getting like YouTube momentum in terms of people responding to your videos, but in terms of like keeping up, in terms of, staying on the hamster wheel, like a lot of that happens in here. Because, like there can come to a point to where it's like, great, I'm out of video ideas. And then you start thinking to yourself, like, great, how am I going to come up with more video ideas? Now this is getting hard. And you start feeding yourself all of that stuff, when in reality, things typically aren't hard. There's just more things that you have to learn in order to make it, not as difficult for you in that moment. So because of that, if you are getting some type of momentum on the channel, start paying attention to the videos that people are enjoying already. Start paying attention to the actual topics that you're talking about that people are enjoying compared to the topics that they are not. You can see this, or you can actually compare content sets if you go and use the grouping feature in your YouTube analytics. In order to find that, go into your YouTube analytics, click on advanced mode, and then you can click up into your channel name, and then you're going to see a little box pop up. The tab far over to the right. And of course, feel free to rewind this and watch it again so you can, follow the instructions here. But then you'll see that tab over on the far right-hand side that says groups. Click on that, and then you're going to see a little option to create group. So click on create group, name it something like, for the type of content that you make, because you do gaming content. What you would do is you would say, okay, these are, videos on this game, and then you would make a new group on videos on another game. And then you would compare those two against each other, and you would say, okay, these particular videos, these get more impressions, people click on these more, people are watching these for longer periods of time. This group, as a group, as a content set, people just aren't responding to them as much. Therefore, maybe I should make less of the ones that people aren't responding to as much and more of the ones people are. And you just rinse and repeat that process through all the different games you play and all of that until over time, you're going to discover, like, okay, as long as I stay within, these types of boundaries of sorts. Of course, you always want to experiment, but as long as I stay, within this kind of lane, then, then I'll be able to maintain this momentum for quite some time. Business with Nico.
Super chat.
Thank you for the super chat, man. Says, Nick, I terribly struggled to get my first 1,000 subscribers. I'm combining shorts and live streaming for like 4 months without any results. Keep going. So one thing that I want to, remind everybody of, especially because we just have a lot of new content creators here, is that, like I picked up a guitar recently, and I'm trying to, I'm not trying hard, but I'm, when I have some spare time and I'm not doing some other stuff over there, like I'm trying to learn, how to get my fingers to move around properly and all that stuff on the guitar. And I'm trying to go through that process, and it's hard and I suck at it. But in order to get better at it, I have to understand that I suck at it. So right now I can't play a song. I can't, play chords, I can't hop from like chord to chord, anything like that. So right now I suck, right? Like I can't get the result that I want right now. So in order to do that, I have to keep developing my skills in terms of working on the muscle memory from my fingers, learning where, on the neck to put my fingers, if I want certain sounds and all that stuff. Like I have to keep learning, and I have to keep working on my skill set, so that in the future, I'll be able to play, some chords here and there. I'll be able to maybe do, like a little, guitar, not a solo, but I'll be able to do, some sounds after other sounds, here where it sounds halfway decent. I'll be able to do that in the future as long as I continue to work on my skills. YouTube is the same exact way. So basically, when you're coming into YouTube, if you haven't done this stuff before, you got to go through the process of learning how do I get people to click on stuff? How do I write a title that people will respond to? How do I make a thumbnail that will grab somebody's attention? In your case, if you're doing shorts, for the shorts, like, okay, as soon as somebody scrolls up and my short is right there, like, how do I grab their attention? Like, what can I do here in order to make this something that, people will watch for a longer period of time or possibly loop, so that YouTube will, show it to more people. So when it comes with all this stuff, though, your live streams included, it really comes down to, how people are responding to your content. So like if you are getting views, then you're heading in the right direction, right? You just have to learn how to amplify that in terms of, learning how to do all the things better, so that YouTube will put your content in front of more new people. And then as it puts your content in front of more new people, then those people can come and subscribe. But keep in mind also with the shorts, with one short, there might not be tons of value expressed in that short that might warrant a subscribe. So, you got to keep those types of things in mind as well. Whereas if you were doing a short and you were giving, because you have business with Nico, so I'm going to guess you're giving business tips. One thing that you might want to start doing if you're not already is reminding people when they're watching your short, be like, hey, by the way, I'm publishing these shorts all the time. Make sure you subscribe for more. That's it. Or just say, subscribe for more. So then that way you're putting that information out there, and you're encouraging that person to at least hit that subscribe button if they're not really thinking about it. Because if they're just mindlessly in the short shelf, they're just sitting there going like this on the sofa, not even like paying real attention to what's going on. Then in that case, just that quick, remember to subscribe. It's just that little seed in their mind that's like, oh yeah, I actually did like that tip, or, whatever he was sharing there. So I'm going to subscribe, right? So I would definitely start using those calls to action if you're not already. David McGill, thank you for the super chat, man. Says, Nick, where are your previous lives stored? So I have a playlist. That playlist is called like YouTube Tips Live Streams, I believe it is, and or YouTube, yeah, it's something like that. But basically, if you go to my channel page and then you click over into playlists, then you are going to find it within my playlist there. But basically, these streams, because I unlist them after the stream currently, but with them being unlisted at this moment in time, you want to access the replays through that playlist link. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list here, I'm just gonna scroll down here. Aperture Movement. Thank you for the super chats. There's no question, just a thank you for all of your tips. Thank you for that. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Okay, keep scrolling down here, jump down to the new comments, and I think that has us up to date here. Interesting, this particular one froze, so let me refresh this. Oh, it just jumped down. Okay, so next up on our list here, while that's refreshing, we're jumping back into the forum here, and let's see here, we got Trethan VT taken care of, and then now we're on question number 24 now. Yeah, just cruising. So Jowni Jahani, I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly, says they upload bi-weekly. They've been on YouTube for less than 6 months. The type of channel is cinematic content, inspiration, and tutorials. The goal of the channel is to realize and share my passion, inspire, and help, and get additional income / side hustle. Question. I have 4,000 views and only 22 subscribers on my channel. How should I interpret this ratio? You should interpret this ratio as, awesome, I got 22 people to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's how you should interpret it. And you should think to yourself, like, okay, if I can get 22 people to subscribe, I can get 200 people to subscribe. And if I can get 200 people to subscribe, I can get 200,000 people to subscribe, right? Or 2,000, then 200,000, right? So the fact that you got 22 people to subscribe to your channel is proof that your concept and what it is that you're doing works. Now you just need to scale it up, right? So you're doing the thing, people are responding. Now you just need to scale it up. Of course, as you continue to pick up momentum and as your views start to increase and things like that, you can experiment with different calls to action. And what I mean by call to action is reminding people to subscribe in a certain way, reminding people to subscribe at certain points in your video. And you can experiment with that, across your videos, but reminding people to subscribe or inviting them to subscribe in specific parts in your video, adding graphics to your videos to remind people to subscribe, things like that, so that you can start figuring out for your audience what they respond to in terms of, increasing the amount of people that are subscribing per 1,000 views that you're getting, or 100 views that you're getting, however you want to calculate that. So, hey, Nikki, have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you for hanging out. So, as we keep on going here, All Things Monica says they do entrepreneurship, faith, and family content. The goal of the channel is to inspire, uplift, educate, and get monetized. Love it. Love channels that are like, hey, I'm trying to add some good stuff to the world here. Absolutely love it, because we need more of that, especially right now. Says, I only have 31 subscribers. How can I get more feedback on my content? So the thing that you want to avoid, especially, when you're first getting started, the thing that you want to avoid when you're trying to get feedback on your content is, first off, if you share it with a friend and your friend's like, hey, this is awesome, and they're like, hey, every video you're making is awesome, then you probably want to ask somebody else. And you want to keep asking your friends until you find somebody that says, you know what, I hate to tell you this, but your audio is way too loud, or I lost interest after a minute, right? So you want to find that friend that can start giving you some honest feedback. But in addition to that, there are groups like Brian's Tube Ritual group, but they don't allow spamming per se in terms of, trying to get feedback that way. But, like Brian's group is a great place to, start interacting with other content creators to where, you might be able to get feedback from somebody, but you got to be careful. And the reason you got to be careful, when you're trying to get feedback on your content, is there's a lot of groups on Facebook. There's a lot of subreddits, things like that, where new content creators will congregate. And when they do that, they'll start giving each other advice. And when they start giving each other advice, in some cases it's, advice that's helpful. In other cases, it's advice that's completely steering the person in the wrong way, because the person giving the advice doesn't really know what it is that they are, they don't know what they're doing yet either. So because of that, you just want to make sure that, when you are getting feedback, that it's either from somebody that is within your target audience. So, like I was saying before, asking your friends for feedback, you want to make sure that you're asking a friend that, one, is honest with you, but two, somebody that would watch your type of content, to where even if they weren't your friend, they would click on your type of video because it's something they would be interested in. So they would have that perspective of other content that they watch that's similar to what it is that you're making. So I would definitely take that approach when it comes to trying to get some feedback. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, We've got Hero Kings Roos TYH says they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to entertain people. The question, if I were to make 4 videos for 4 years and upload them daily, when I finish making those videos, would it benefit me? And how often should I upload the pre-prepared videos? So if you're making videos for 4 years and then you're going to upload them, like just start uploading. Like there's no reason to wait. So like if you are wanting to do this whole thing in terms of YouTube, either as a hobby or professionally, like the first thing you got to do is start publishing videos. So don't wait on it. Don't be like, hey, I'm going to get 100 videos first and then I'm going to start publishing them all the time. Just don't do that. Like just go ahead and start publishing the content. And the reason you want to do that is because, one, YouTube is going to change a lot over the next 4 years. And by making that content now, you might be making content that might not even be, right for 4 years from now. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are making videos, publishing those videos, looking at the data in terms of how people respond, make adjustments, make new videos, look at the data, how people respond, make adjustments, make new videos, and you rinse and repeat that process until you start making content that's competitive for the platform to where it gets more impressions, gets more views, and so on. Juggernauted.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure next time you get the chance, go to nimminvip.com. That is our members-only Facebook group. Fill out all the information on the way in because that's how I verify that you're a channel member before I let you in. So make sure you fill out all that information. And if you can do that before the stream is over today, I will get you in there as soon as the stream is complete today. Next up on our list here, let me scroll up here because I see it. There we go. B Maze HD.
Super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. Says, any advice for my dispensary channel that's an 18 or older channel trying to hit 1,000, stuck at 400? So you have 400 people subscribed, which means that, just like I was talking about with that other channel and the question that I answered from the forum here, you have 400 people subscribed, which means what it is that you're doing works, right? So what you need to do now is figure out exactly what is working. So what you want to do is you want to go into your channel. You can do it now or after the stream. You just go ahead and do it now, but just go into your channel and start looking at the videos that are currently generating subscribers or just currently generating activity on your channel. The reason that you want to do that is because if you go into your YouTube analytics and then go into advanced and then go down to sort by the videos that are driving the most subscribers, then in that case, and for that, what you'll want to do is once you figure out the videos that are driving the most subscribers, then you want to start thinking to yourself like, okay, these are the videos that are causing people to subscribe. So let me start watching some of these and start trying to come up with theories on why people are subscribing to these videos more than they're subscribing to the other videos on the channel. So then you start doing that, and then you start testing those theories with new videos that you publish. In addition to that, you also want to look at the topics of the videos that are performing well, and you want to look at all the data on the videos that are performing well that are causing people to come into your channel and then, of course, enjoy the content and subscribe. And you want to start uncovering the content that they're responding to right now. A way that you can easily do that is if you go into your YouTube analytics, you're going to have YouTube list out for you the top videos that are currently driving the channel. So when you're looking at that list, those are the things that people are interested, or those are the things that people are recently interacting. Those are the things. Those are the videos that people are recently interacting on your channel from. So you want to use that information and start thinking, okay, if these are the top 10 videos, let's say, that are driving a majority of the views to the channel, then what are these videos about? And what video can I publish next that would be a great fit in terms of the thing that they're proving that they're interested in because they watch those other videos? What could be the next video that I could publish on my channel that would make sense for the people that just watched, these videos over here? And then you want to start making that content so that you can make sure that you are serving those people that are the most recently active on the channel so that, and this is where that gets important, so that as you're making more content that serves those people that are currently interacting with the channel, YouTube can start to get a better understanding of those people and how they use YouTube and the content that they watch on YouTube so that the system can start to understand these people that watch this type of content and interact with YouTube in this way respond well to this channel. So because of that, and these videos, so because of that, the system will start trying to show your content to other people that use YouTube like those people do. So that's why you want to make sure that you're just serving that audience in the best way that you possibly can, and that you're using the feedback that YouTube is giving you in terms of the content that they're responding to, the videos they're subscribing to more, the videos they like more, the videos that are just getting general overall traction, more traction. Like, you want to really dig into those, and then you want to make sure that you're making great follow-up videos for some of those so that you can keep serving those viewers to help, YouTube just fine tune who the perfect fit is for your content. Let's see here as we keep on going through this list here. And by the way, if you're just joining the stream, what we're talking about is I'm answering YouTube specific questions. So if you're a YouTube content creator, you got questions, I'm pulling them from the form down in the description. Here in a minute, once Brian jumps on, we are going to just start pulling them directly out of the chat as well. So we're going to pull some out of the chat. We're going to pull some out of the form here. But that's what's going on. So if you're a YouTube content creator, everybody that's hanging out in the chat here is also a YouTube content creator. So you are amongst your folks. Welcome to the stream. If you've never been here before, and I hope you enjoy the information. So next question that we have here is from writer Marcus Regis. Says that they do writing and world building as the type of channel. And the goal is, I want to become a resource for writers and world builders who want inspiration or help with their process. Question: I'm struggling with thumbnails and CTR. How big channels would you recommend doing when experimenting with thumbnails? How big changes? I'm sorry. How big of changes would you recommend doing when experimenting with thumbnails? Is changing the font too small a change? Is changing the entire design too much? So what you want to think about when it comes to your thumbnails and testing your thumbnails is try everything. And the reason that you want to experiment with everything is so that you can start scratching stuff off of the list. People respond to this, yes or no, no, gone. People respond to this, yes or no, no, gone. And you start basically just going through all the different experimentations that you're doing. Try putting words on your thumbnail. Try not putting words on your thumbnail. Try putting yourself on your thumbnail. Try not putting yourself on your thumbnail. Try using, like a graphically pretty one. Try using like an amateurish, ugly looking one. Like, try everything until you start to uncover what your audience responds to most. And the way that you do that is just through experimentation. Now, you can change your thumbnails at any time. When you change your thumbnails, you can see, because YouTube gives us the real-time data on how people are responding to the thumbnails. So you can make a change and you can see it, check back in the next day and you'll be able to see if it's helping or hurting. And you can also, if you're not already, once you start getting, consistent traffic on your videos, TubeBuddy, who's a sponsor of the show today, they also have an A/B testing tool so that you can use that to start to uncover, like, hey, when I do these types of things with the thumbnails, people respond versus when I do these. But any change is good, but when you can really do something different, that's where you're going to really start uncovering things. But you can do changes like, okay, in this one I did a red background, this one I did a blue background, which one do people respond to? If it seems like they respond to this red one more, then I'm going to test that on like 5 more videos and see if that's consistent. And then you just kind of rinse and repeat that process over and over again until you start to uncover what your audience responds to most. That's the approach. Mike Phillips, what's up, man? But in terms of the change, just experiment with everything. And again, the reason that you want to do that is because, you have to learn what's effective for the people that you're trying to reach. And pretty isn't always it. Putting, a bunch of words in your thumbnails or changing the font, might not be it. You really need to experiment so that you can uncover what it is that people respond to. And the funny thing is like, I'm saying that, but, there's a lot of people here that will just continue to do the same. They'll be like, I'm just going to do the same thing that I'm currently doing. But, I promise you, if you make experimentation part of your workflow and part of what it is that you do over the course of a 30-day period on your channel, you're really going to uncover a lot with what it is that you're doing. And it's really going to help you advance with what it is that you're doing here on YouTube. And it's going to help you start getting better results as well. So I really recommend everybody experiment, when you can. Next up on this list, we've got Mega Gaming. Mega Gaming says they have a gaming channel, and the goal of the channel is to make people laugh. And the question, what's the best way to get views and subs? Best way to get subscribers is by adding value to the people that are watching your content. So that value, we all interpret value differently, but value typically comes in the form of education, typically comes in the form of entertainment, typically comes in the form of motivation or inspiration. Value comes in a bunch of different, wrappings, right? So, if you want people to subscribe to your YouTube channel, then, they need to be getting some type of value from what it is that you're doing. In addition to that, it's helpful to accelerate things that you start putting out content within a niche on your channel, to where basically you pick a genre of content that's going to serve a very specific audience, and then you just make that content. And that way, what you do is you, instead of making a bunch of different videos, on a bunch of different things, then what you start doing is you start creating an entire channel that's a resource for a certain type of viewer, which can bring you really big gains, really big wins.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right, next up on the list, we've got Amatrees. Amatrees says they do, said they're just trying stuff. And the goal of the channel is that's some personal. And the question is, I don't know if my channel has some weird stuff, like managing it. Can you check? No, I'm not looking at channels right now. Next up, we've got Vids by Tim again. And how much time should I put into shorts? Okay, we answered that one already. Next up, we've got Architectural Sheet Metal 101. Says, hold on, let me check something really quick. Okay, I'll answer that one right here in a second. Actually, I'll jump on this one now, then we'll jump back into sheet metal. Let's see here. Let me scroll up so I can find it. There we go. So, Cazador719 says, Nick, I use TubeBuddy for SEO. My videos hit a wall around 300 to 400 views before slowing down. Why? I started using the days and times recommended by YouTube and TubeBuddy for uploads and lives, but not really improving much. So it comes down to your content. So basically, you can optimize all day long in terms of, the words that you're putting in your title, the words that you're putting in your description. Like, you can optimize that stuff all day long, but at the end of the day, you got to get people to click on what it is that you're doing, and that's going to be reflected through your click-through rate. You got to get people to enjoy the content as well. And if you're not doing that, then what's going to happen is YouTube's going to start showing your videos to people. And if they, have that moment to where they're showing it to those people that are the most interested or likely to be the most interested based on their predictions, then, that's where those 300 and 400 views are coming from. And then as they start fanning it out to people that are, they're a good fit, but maybe not the best fit, and those people don't respond to it, then what's going to happen is as your click-through rate, or basically as they stop responding or slowly stop responding, then your video is going to come to a screeching halt of sorts, at least in that moment. That doesn't mean that it's going to permanently stay that way. It just means that after that 7-day trial period where they're testing it all over the platform, that you might see a decline in views, or it might come to a screeching halt, so to speak. But keep in mind, just because it comes to a screeching halt after 300 or 400 views initially doesn't mean that it's not going to end up showing up in search later, and that you're going to end up getting, a decent amount of views on that later. So keep that in mind. But one thing that you also want to think about is, if you are targeting search, which is why you would be going after, a search engine optimization. If you are targeting search, another thing that you want to make sure that you're doing specifically is you want to, for each video that you publish, when you're looking at your click-through rate, for example, and your average view duration, you don't want to just look at that in the quick view. You want to go into your advanced mode in your analytics for each video, and then you want to go under traffic sources, and then you want to look at YouTube search. And then you're going to start seeing how people are responding in terms of the click and the average view duration that you're getting there directly from YouTube search. So you want to make sure that you're looking at it there if you're targeting search. As we keep on going through this list, Nick, thanks. You earned watch time today for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We definitely get a lot of watch time, from these videos for sure. So right now, the questions, I'm pulling them from the form, but I'm actually going to go ahead right now after we answer this one from Architectural Sheet Metal. I'm going to pull some out of the chat here as well. So just get your questions ready. Make sure that when you're typing it out and you're getting ready to hit the go button, make sure that you put a Q in front of it. That's going to help me identify that the question is for me, and that it's not a side conversation that's happening in the chat. Magic Prepper, shoot me a message on Twitter. Time zones, things like that, I'm not sure. So time zones, things like that, I'm not sure. But if you can DM me on Twitter, let's see. We'll see if we can work it out. I would love to be there to congratulate you for your 100K celebration. So if you are, as long as we can match things up time zone wise, then yeah, I'll gladly hop on there. So let's see here. So the question here from Architectural Sheet Metal before I go into the chat for the questions is that Cody Warner in the house, my dude. Hope that you're doing awesome. Nice to see you in here. So the channel name here is Architectural Sheet Metal. The let's see here. The type of channel is sheet metal educational content. The goal of the channel is to educate people about sheet metal. And the question, how do my thumbnails look? Would you click them? So I'm not looking at channels right now. So we'll go on to the next question. Actually, we answered that one. So we'll go to the next one. And if you got a question, now's the time. Go ahead and make sure you put either the word question or you put a Q in front of it so that I know that it's for me and not a side conversation that's happening. And I will just start rapid firing on some of these. Hot dogs or cheeseburgers? Cheeseburgers all the way between the two. Cheeseburgers all the way between those two. Should I play with thumbnails on existing videos? If you find that your videos are underperforming and that they're underperforming from the click in terms of how many impressions you're getting versus how often people are clicking on them compared to the impressions that you're getting, then absolutely you should experiment with your thumbnails. But one thing to always remember, and this is really important, and I'm just going to stop for a second and focus on this. If you're a YouTube content creator and you are looking at your thumbnails, a lot of times people will look at their thumbnails if their click-through rate's low and they'll think like, oh, my thumbnail sucks. But keep in mind, the topic of your video impacts your click-through rate. The thumbnail, of course, impacts your click-through rate, and your title also impacts your click-through rate. So it's not always your thumbnail. So just keep that in mind when you are doing those experimentations. That's why you want to start over time for each pillar of content that you make, you want to start trying to figure out a general average that you typically get in terms of like, okay, after my videos had, 10,000 impressions or 5,000 impressions, typically by that time I can maintain a click-through rate of about this on my videos that typically perform okay. But you also want to look at your average view duration and everything else, and you want to start to get a picture of sorts of what performance looks like on your channel. And then when you start falling underneath some of those thresholds, that's where you go in. You're like, okay, let's start messing with the title. Let's start messing with the thumbnail. Let's start seeing if we can do something on the front end to bring a little bit more attention to this video. Red Bear Speedo Edits. Currently, I'm doing the reviews as of right now. So Red Bear Speedo Edit says, when is your next channel review stream? So currently, I'm not doing them here. I do them currently in our members only live streams, but I'm considering, I have another channel. It's called Nimmin Extra. And that's where I upload live clips from this show occasionally. So I'm considering doing some channel review streams over there. But I can tell you that my brother and Daniel Batal do channel review streams on the StreamYard YouTube channel every month. And we have a product that's coming out here very soon. And with that particular product, we're going to be doing some channel review stuff over there too. So just keep an eye out for that. Okay, how can I rank on tags and get noticed? So you're not trying to rank on tags. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get attention you're trying to get your videos to show up when people are looking for a particular keyword or keyword phrase. So it's not that you're trying to rank your tags, really. You're just trying to get your videos to show up somewhere. So when it comes to YouTube, the only way that your videos are going to, they're going to show up initially, but the only way that they're going to continue showing up and continue getting shown to people is if people respond to those videos. So when it comes to getting your, showing up in search, if that's what you're after, when it comes to showing up in search, when YouTube tests your content in search, then people have to respond to it at a positive level there to where YouTube deems it as something that's competitive for the platform, or at least in that case, for the search result that, for the search term or phrase that you're after. So because of that, you have to be able to compete with the other people that are there for that particular term that you're going for. Sometimes you'll nail it, sometimes you won't, but the idea is to do the research ahead of time so that you can make sure that you're going for something that has a higher search volume but lower competition. That's ultimately what you want to do. Let's see here. Should we play with the thumbnails on existing video? Okay, we did that one already. How to appear on the front page of YouTube. If people, same exact thing. If you have a high click-through rate and a competitive average view duration, then your content's going to continue to show up on home pages. But basically, what you need to make sure that you're thinking about is if your content does show up on a home page, are you prepared? And what I mean by that is, in terms of getting your content to show up on the homepage of YouTube, if your videos do show up there, and they do, I'll tell you right now, when you publish a video, if you publish a video right now, you will get some impressions on the homepage. I guarantee it. The difference is, are you able to grab somebody's attention there? So what you want to think about is okay, when you're putting, and I mentioned this earlier in the stream today too, but you want to think, okay, if I am publishing this content, the very first thing I got to think about for the topic, is this topic something that people would be interested in? If so, why? Why do I think they would be interested in this? Define it. When it comes to your thumbnail, okay, does this thumbnail help people identify that this video might be something that they're interested in or something that would grab their attention? If the answer is yes, then define why. If you know, like just define it. Like, yes, it would, and this is why. In terms of your title, is this title something that's compelling? You know, maybe it's informative, but it's also compelling to, you know, try to pull people into the video. Why would somebody want to click on this from a homepage? Because you got to keep in mind that you're competing with all of this other content that YouTube is predicting that somebody might be interested in when they open up YouTube. So because of that, you have to make sure that you're defining all these things so that you can give yourself the best possible shot. But keep in mind, it's not just your click-through rate. So when it comes to showing up on the homepage, it's all of the things. So it's your click-through rate. It's how, you know, long people are watching your videos for, how satisfied they are with your video based on, you know, everything that YouTube is tracking. But that comes from your average view duration, comes from if they decided to subscribe or not, if they're liking your videos or not, if they're disliking your videos, if they're leaving comments, if they're sharing them, if they're adding them to playlists, a bunch of other stuff. So, you know, once they make it to the end of your video, what do they do there? Do they watch more of your content? Do they go and look at your channel page? Do they go and watch 4 more of your videos? Like, what do they do? So like all of these things matter. And the higher response that you get from all of those different things, the higher the likelihood that your videos are going to show up on the surface. And by surface, I mean suggested videos, you know, home pages, YouTube search, whatever. But you're going to keep showing up on the surfaces that you are generating the highest response from. Cody Warner. Oops, wrong one.
Super chat.
There it is. Wrong one twice.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati, my man. If you go to nimminvip.com, that's going to redirect you to our members only Facebook group. I know you, so you don't have to fill out the information. Just go ahead and just go over there. And then after the stream, if you can just do that before the stream today, then I'll add you to the group once the stream is complete. It'd be awesome having you in there, actually. So let's see here. As we keep on going down this list here, we got Doug, queue for questions. So how can I rank on tags and get noticed? We already did that one. How do you know what to change advertisers based on your viewership? How do you make sure that you're not undervaluing yourself? Great question. How do you know what to charge advertisers? So here's some things that you got to think about, okay? Because you're an established channel now. So some things that you got to think about when it comes to partnerships or companies that you're working with. Some things you got to think about is a lot of people will just kind of apply some math. They'll be like, okay, these are my average view duration, or not my average view durations. These are my average view counts. And based on my average view counts, they'll apply that to, you know, the CPMs that they typically get. And they'll apply some math to it to figure out like a general range of what they should charge people. I don't support that approach. The approach that I support is thinking of it from the perspective of like, if you were going to charge somebody to like build a house, right? Then you're going to have, you know, a list of things to where it's like, okay, you know, we're going to charge this because we have to do this. We're going to charge this because of this. We're going to charge this because of this. And you put together a proposal of sorts, just like you do for brands. And when you're doing that, you have to keep in mind that one, you know, your time and your reputation are also things that you should factor in, as well as your view counts matter. So, you know, you got to have people watching your videos. So, you know, you want to make sure that you are getting those average view counts, but you also want to also consider the engagement that you're getting. So for example, let's say in your space and the type of content that you make, let's say that your engagement is through the roof compared to the other channels in your space. You'll be able to charge more money than they will. As long as let's say your views are similar, but your engagement is like double theirs, you'll be able to charge more for brand deals. Because since your community's a lot more engaged, the likelihood of them following your recommendation is going to be higher than that other channel. So because of that, you know, your reputation carries weight when it comes to those deals. So you want to make sure, and you know, the engagement from your community. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're factoring in those types of things. You also want to factor in opportunity cost. And what I mean by opportunity cost, and this is going to be a little bit content dependent because some content, you know, there's a lot more ways to monetize it than other content. But currently, Like if you're doing a lot of like affiliate marketing and things like that through your content, or you're doing, crowdfunding, things like that, and you've figured out, hey, when I talk about these specific things, then it, essentially makes the cash register ring, and it, gets people into, my crowdfunding and like that kind of stuff. If you figured that out with the videos, then for every video that you publish that you're not driving people into those things, then you're taking a loss on those things. And if you're promoting things that are recurring, then it can cost you a substantial amount of money to do a sponsorship deal. So because of that, you also have to balance in that possible loss or that opportunity cost that you're going to incur when you make a video for somebody else compared to making that video for yourself. Okay. So just make sure that you're thinking about those types of things when it comes to what it is that you're going to charge. Now, there are websites like socialbluebook.com. If you go there, I think you get one time that you can do it for free. But if you go there, you create an account, then you can actually just hit a button and they will give you a ballpark valuation based on your average view counts of what they think that you should ballpark and charge for a sponsored video. Other things that matter is, let's say that somebody's going to offer, or that you are going to offer a full dedicated video. That's going to be more expensive than if you're going to offer a like a bumper. And a bumper essentially is like, let's say your video starts, or let's say at the end of your video, to where you just have like a little blurb that you do about that thing. You'll see that a lot in my content. I typically put them in the beginning. But like with those things, then, like the price on those is different. The same exact thing applies to where if you're going to put those bumpers in the front, it's going to cost more than if you're going to put those bumpers in the back. The reason for that is because if you put them in the front, then there's that additional opportunity cost of possibly impacting the overall performance of the video because of all the people bailing out during that sponsor message in the front. So you got to make sure that you're factoring in, all of those things. So hopefully that will get you started. But, when it comes to, brand deals, you got to make sure you're thinking of that. Oh, and another thing too, before we move on, you also want to make sure that you are considering the amount of content that you're doing. So what I recommend that you do is, if you are, starting those conversations, is that you offer a menu of sorts. And that menu is to where you have a minimum of the videos that you'll do. So let's say that minimum is 3. So you're like, okay, as a bare minimum, I do three videos. And you'll be surprised that almost everybody that's going to reach out to you, they will do that 3 video minimum with you. But from there, you can also say, we can do like, the 3 videos, or we can also do like a longer term thing to where, like, let's say we do a video a month for the next 6 months. Then of course you would give them a good deal, because then that way you don't have to stay on the hamster wheel looking for deals, in terms of filling that bucket of your income generation. You don't have to stay on the hamster wheel looking for deals. So because of that, you give them a break on the rate that you charge them, just because they're willing to commit to you for that longer period of time. And the way that you sell that, it's not really selling it. I mean, it's just being honest with them. But the way that you sell that is by telling them, okay, the reason that you want to do this for a longer period of time is because not every person that's in my community watches every single video. And when I am consistently recommending your product, it not only shows, not only is it reaching more people, but it also shows that I'm continually supporting, your products. So, because of that, it just creates that deeper integration, with your brand, which also adds value to the companies that you work with. So that was a very long answer, but hopefully that helped you out. Chicky Pie in the house saying Happy New Year. Hope that you guys are doing fantastic. Thank you for swinging by the stream. Hey, my girlfriend, she now has both shots. We've got a few more days left for her other shot to come through. So I would love to meet at like an outdoor restaurant or coffee or something like that sometime here in the near future, because now I'll be able to, kind of be, in proximity of people without, having to worry about, what's going on in the world, so to speak. So would love to hook up soon. I'll shoot you a message on online. Let's see here. So next up, I'm just going to keep pulling these out of the form here. So my chat here jumped down, so I'm just going to pick it where it is right now. And let's see here. That would be how do I reverse a partial shadow ban? First, you gotta know that it's a shadow ban. Like this whole shadow ban thing. Like I'm not sure what's going on there. Like when it comes to like a shadow ban, like you can see it. It's not a shadow ban. Like if you just go and you put your phone in restricted mode, you'll be able to see like these are the videos that YouTube is restricting. Like you can see that clear as day. It's not a shadow thing. Like it's just like, hey, these videos are restricted. So what you want to do is for the videos that are restricted, you want to go in, you want to start looking for patterns. You want to look at the words that were said in the video. You want to look at, the actual description and the title. You want to look at everything about that video and see if you can find a pattern of the things that you're talking about or the way that you're talking about them that is causing the videos to get restricted, and then try to come up with other things that you can say in the place of those things. So, things that your community will be able to tap into, over time. Like for example, how I just told Chicky Pie, hey, we should meet up soon. I said that thing that's happening in the world right now. And the reason for that is because I don't want to say the actual, thing that's happening in the world because, I just don't want this, content to get flagged in any way. Let's see here. What do I think about the shorts feature in YouTube? I think it's great because it's another place that content creators can get attention. And another thing with shorts, in terms of them being great, is that especially if you're new, it can help give you the encouragement that you need because you're getting some feedback in order to keep you going, so that it kind of creates that bridge of sorts and helps keep you inspired to keep making content. When it comes to shorts, like the difference is, if you have a piece of video content that you upload to YouTube, people have to choose to click on that piece of video content. So if it shows up on a homepage, somebody has to choose to click on it. If it shows up in search, they got to choose to click on it. If it's in suggested videos, they have to choose to click on that on your video. When it comes to shorts, of course, people can, look for content in shorts as well. But in a lot of cases, people are just in the shorts feed and they're just scrolling, right? And as they're sitting there scrolling, of course, you can click in from the app and all that. But once you're in the shorts feed, people are just sitting there scrolling and they're just going from short to short to short to short. So what ends up happening is, your short's just going to show up there in front of somebody. So as long as you can keep them watching for just a little tiny bit, then that's going to count as a view. And you're like, sweet, I got a view, right? And then it's going to happen again. It'll happen again. And then you'll be like, oh, sweet, I got some views on this thing. So it's not something to where, people are actively deciding to watch your content. Instead, your content is kind of happening to them because they are, in the short shelf and they're wanting to watch short content. So, there's a difference there, but I dig it. And the reason I dig it is because, it can give you that inspiration that you need to keep on going, especially for new content creators. Because, I'm sure there's a decent amount of you in here that, you publish videos sometimes and you're like, oh my God, 10 views. I don't know how much longer I can do this, and like when you're putting content into shorts, when you're getting, those higher numbers, then it's like, okay, sweet. I'm getting feedback. People are seeing my stuff and that feels awesome. And that will, that'll help you keep going. Let's see here. Meditative Muse, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Hamburger, hot dogs, definitely. Hamburger still. We're not on cheeseburger, but hamburger, but I'd probably request some, cheese, onions, ketchup, mustard, the whole deal. Maybe toss some crunchy lettuce on there. So, Kino, I'm sure 1200. Oh, hey, I got to send this link out, here really quick as well. Give me 1 second. Is exposure to as much social media as possible efficient? So Facebook, TikTok, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, all those things. So what I recommend that people do is pick the platforms that you're the most engaged on already and try to build, a presence there because you're already engaged. So like if you're on TikTok and you're interacting, with a lot of people there, go ahead and upload some content there as well. So you can be on the creator side of there if you want to grow your brand on TikTok. When it comes to YouTube, same exact thing. If you're here a lot and you're hanging out here a lot and you're like, hey, I dig the YouTube thing, then upload content here and try to grow your brand here. If you are on Twitter, right? And you're like, hey, I'm on Twitter all the time, so I might as well have an account here and try to grow my brand over on Twitter as well. Then in that case, what you're doing is you're just growing, you're trying to grow where you are, the things that you're interested in the most, right? That's what I'm trying to get to. So because of that, it's definitely a good move, but you got to be careful because let's say you're just getting started. Like this stuff can already be challenging. So since it's already challenging, if you're trying to manage, like some people, they don't even have time to upload to YouTube consistently. So if you're having trouble uploading to YouTube consistently, then you're really going to put yourself underwater in terms of the time that you have. If you're trying to attack all of these platforms at one time. But if you do have the time and you're like, hey, let me try to put some content here, here, and here, you might find that you do way better on YouTube than TikTok, or you might find that you do way better on TikTok and Instagram than you do YouTube. So because of that, as a content creator, you are a content creator. That doesn't lock you into YouTube. That just means like, hey, I make content for the internet. So therefore, that gives you the opportunity to be able to build your brand on whatever platforms it is that you prefer. Let me share this in here really quick. Share it. All right. So let's see here. That's in there now. So the next question that we have here is how do you use commercial for your upcoming live stream to get the most advantage out of it? Tips and tricks. So so the idea is you just want to be informative. So the trailer for your live streams is just to let the people know, because already, right, when they see your thumbnail there, they can click into it. And then if it's just a static image, then it's just that image. They don't have any real context outside of the title of what's going on in your stream. So because of that, when you use the trailer, you just get to talk to them and tell them like, hey, this is what's going on in the stream. This is why you should participate. This is why it matters to you, right? That's the idea. So in terms of the tips and tricks, just make sure that you're keeping it relatively short. And then just let them know how your stream is going to be helpful to them and why they should participate. And then of course, remind them, all you have to do is click here to, remind, and then, I'll show up on your homepage and, or possibly show up in your email after you click that link. So here, Homekeeping Channel says, Nick, do you recommend a microphone for a laptop so I can do my voiceovers? I'm not that technical. Thanks in advance. Okay, I do. And the reason that I do is because if you're doing tutorial content, your audio is a really important part of that. So if you're not that technical, I recommend that you start with a USB microphone. USB microphone, a very popular one that people use is called a Blue Yeti. It sounds great. It has options where you can kind of switch the polar patterns on it to where you can kind of focus it in on your voice, and they sound great. So a lot of people use those for tutorial videos, and the best part about it is you can just plug it right into your computer through the USB. You don't have to have like interfaces or any of these other things in order to make it work. You just plug it right in through the USB, and then you're off. You'll probably have to download a driver for it, but then you're off to the races. I have a channel for 4 weeks, and I've made 85 videos, but only have 29 subscribers. I don't know if that's good or bad. So 4 weeks and 85 videos, that's a ton. That's a ton of video. Oh my gosh, that's a ton of videos. So here's just something I want to let you know. In terms of the notifications that go out on YouTube, they are limited to 3 videos for notifications, 3 videos or 3 notifications within a 24-hour period. Doesn't mean that they're not going to like just show up elsewhere and things like that. So they can still show up on home pages and all of that. However, that's a lot of videos. Like personally, I would scale back the amount of videos, and I would scale the video production back and the skill development forward. And the reason for that is just so that with all of the content that you're pumping out, so that you can make sure that you get, and you might already be there. Like you might already, like your stuff might be awesome. It might be on fire right out of the gate. But if not, if you're like, yeah, I could definitely make, spend more time learning how to write titles or making, thumbnails, or just learning how to read my analytics or whatever, so I can make better content decisions in the future, that kind of stuff. I really recommend that you dedicate some of that time to skill development instead of just mass uploading to YouTube, because a long time ago, mass publishing to YouTube, it used to work. Like, like you could do that and, the channel would grow just because you're uploading. Like you would get, a lot of views on it. But unfortunately, fortunately, because it keeps the platform, quality, but unfortunately, because it makes it a little bit more difficult, these days, you have to be able to get that response in order for everything to work out, ultimately for you long term. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are putting that that time into skill development to make sure that you are getting things to where you're making the content and publishing that content that's the best that you can possibly make for wherever, whatever moment in time it is that you're publishing it. Natural Larissa, what's up? Hope that you're doing awesome. Nice to see you in the stream today. Does colors make a difference to thumbnails? Absolutely, they do. Some colors grab attention more than other colors. reds, yellows, that type of thing. Bright colors, definitely grab, more attention. But they're not always appropriate. Like sometimes you'll find that like, hey, I've been using these bright colors, people aren't responding, so I switched to something a little bit more neutral or something a little bit, like a little bit more dull, and people respond better. So it's important to make sure that you're testing those things against your audience or the people that YouTube is showing your content to. Let's see here. I didn't get my 4,000 hours last year. Do I start all over again to get verified on YouTube? No. So all you have to do is get that within a 365-day period. So it doesn't mean that you have to like start from now forward. The watch time that you've generated, 364 days ago still counts, but it's falling off, right? Every day that goes by, it's falling off. And the new watch time that you're getting is coming on. So because of that, you need to make sure that you're stacking on more new watch time as you're moving forward. But the content you've already published that's behind you, that's still counting as long as it's within that 365-day period. Andy Rodriguez,
Super chat.
thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Let's see here. So, Itty Bitty Micro Farm says, we do a live stream every week. Should we unlist them like you do? And why do you unlist them? I've just been unlisting them for about 3 months now, because I'm actually experimenting right now, because I'm always telling you guys like, hey, experiment. Like I'm always experimenting too. So I'm actually experimenting right now just to see if it makes a difference or not, in terms of leaving them public versus unlisting them. Because, my streams are long. Like, if I was streaming for 20 minutes, I wouldn't even worry about it. If I was streaming for 30 minutes, maybe even an hour, I probably wouldn't even worry about it. But, these streams will last sometimes, 3 hours. Sometimes they always last like 3 hours, but sometimes they'll last like 4 hours. So because of that, I understand that, when YouTube shows this to people, as soon as they come into it, that timestamp can be, fairly intimidating. Plus I see it in the retention on my replay. So because of that, I'm unlisting them now to see if it, ends up making a difference in terms of, my suggested videos going out, my homepage traffic, things like that over that period of time. Rax Kelly, high five and fist bump to you. Saying, hey, Nick, just here to say I reached 100,000 now verified. Still watching your channel to learn more. Awesome. Love it. High five and fist bump to you for 100,000 subscribers. Another play button in the house. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see here. So the next one that we have, Doug's let me know that there are some super chats that I missed. So give me 1 second here. Let me check the start. They're not showing up there. Let me scroll down here really quick. Okay. Let's see here. Fit Dad Chris says, how long do we have to wait to be re-reviewed? So as a channel member, you can do that at any time. You just make sure you just drop your link in that list that's there. Let's see here. China Cash says, hey Nick, I do content about selling my cookies, and I also do covers. My goal is to educate people into build the fan base. How do I stop losing subscribers? Okay. So if you're doing covers, like music covers, and then you're making content about cookies, then in that case, you are serving like two different audiences there, because you have one audience that comes in and they listen to your covers, they enjoy your music, they dig your talent, all that good stuff. And then you have the other side that's coming in for the cookie related stuff. So because of that, what I recommend is that you focus on one or the other, because here's what's happening, or here's what could be happening, is that let's say you have people coming in from the cover. Let's say you make a video today and it's a cover of a song and people really dig it. And they come in and you have a lot of people interacting right now with your channel around that cover. And then you publish a cookie video. Well, the people that are coming in and they're watching those music videos, they don't care about the cookie stuff. They're probably, first off, they might not even click on it in the first place, which is going to hurt your click-through rate. But if they do end up clicking on it and then they come into the video, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I thought this was going to be a music video. And then it's like, oh, okay, this isn't actually, he just kind of, like there's cookie stuff, not interested, and then they unsubscribe, right? So because of that, I just recommend that you pick one or the other, or that you just split it into two different channels where it's like, hey, I've got my music covers on this channel, and then I have my, cookie related stuff over on this channel. But if you do covers and then you're selling cookies, like through your covers, like you have a thing at the end, like, oh, hey, by the way, support the channel, I make these cookies, buy them that way, then you're still bringing them in for the music. You're totally cool. But if you are making content, and that's what I'm picking up from your message here, if you are making content, around your cookies, then that's a totally different audience. So because of that, I would separate them, or just use your channel for one thing specifically. But if you're doing covers, that means you love music. So I would do the music channel as a standalone, and then I would do the cookie stuff separately if it was me. But of course, do what you like. Let's see here. What are the advantages for a kids channel versus a regular channel? Not many people cover on that side. So a kids channel, they can get lots of views on them. But the thing with the kids channels, there are some restrictions that can come into play in terms of like the targeting for the ads and things like that. You typically, can end up with lower rates or lower CPMs because, because they can't be as specific about who they're targeting. That, they end up targeting like a general audience instead of, specific people. So it hurts your CPMs, things like that. In some cases, the comments can be disabled and all of that. So that's the difference really between the two. How long you been in here? So I've been in here in this stream today for 2 hours and 26 minutes. And hold on, don't mind. Let's see here. I think I'm going to focus. Okay, so Brian G. Johnson's going to focus on making a video today instead of hopping on the stream. Brian G. Johnson, that is totally cool. No sweat at all. Let's see here. So how to stand out is, how long I've been on here. So this stream today, 2 hours and 26 minutes. YouTube. I've been on YouTube since September of 2014. So here, My Handcraft says how to stand out as a gaming channel in this massive niche. Try to come up with, and I know this is easier to say than do, but try to come up with something that that is a unique spin on something that's already been done. Right out of the gate, you being the person making the content, like that's already something that you're leveraging as a means to stand out, right? So you're already doing the thing. What you have to do though is you have to start thinking like, okay, what can I do to just grab a little bit more attention? Because I'm already a unique thing that's going to help me stand out. But in addition to that, is there something that I can do with the content that I'm making? So since you're doing gaming content, one thing that's popular, of course, is people, will handicap themselves, for specific things. Like I'm going to beat this level using just this tool or whatever the thing is. But doing that type of thing is helpful. Also, just as a quick heads up, since you're doing gaming content, working in some how-to content is also very advantageous. And what I mean by that is content that explicitly helps people. That's a great way to pull people into the channel, get them familiar with you or introduce them to you, so that if you're doing that help content around the games that you play, they're proving their interest of the games by coming in to learn, whatever thing that is that they're trying to figure out. And then you are, playing your game so that if they're into it, that they can come and participate, when they want to when you're playing them. Okay, so I'm going to hop back into the forum here for a few of these, and then we'll come back into the chat here as well. So the next question that we have here is from Artifact ASMR, and really quick, let me take a sip of Joe.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Yeah, I think I just saw somebody mention Roberto Blake. What's up, Roberto? Hope you're doing awesome. Yeah, there he is. Roberto Blake in the house. What's up, my man? Hope you're doing awesome. Yeah, man, you feel free. You are more than welcome to hop on if you would like, my man. Let's see here. So really quick, Hannah Bailey says, how do you start a members-only group? Can you please explain the right way for my daughter's channel, 95,000, to provide more one-on-one and engage more? So just as a heads up, when you're doing one-on-one, it can be really time-consuming, and it can really, it can just take a ton of time. So you want it to be like a one-to-many type of thing, and that's where the membership groups come in. So what I would do is I would just start up either like a Patreon or a Facebook group or something like that, just to where they can get additional access, but also to where she can do fun stuff with them as well. Like, some people will do things to where, like a new person joins and they'll make just like a little short personal video for them. Like really big channels will do this, to where they make like a little personal video for them or something like that, to where, it's just like, hey, thanks for joining. They'll mention them by name, that kind of stuff. It's just kind of like a, cool thing to do. But basically in terms of the right way to set it up, all you need to do is just think of the value that she's going to provide. So it's like, what exactly is it that she's going to be giving, in exchange for that membership? Is it access to her? Is it, previews on videos before everybody else gets them? Is it exclusive content? Like, what is it exactly they're going to be getting? And then from there, you figure out where it is that you're going to set up that group and exactly what it is that you're going to charge for it, either through YouTube itself and even with YouTube. Like, she could do a group, or she could just upload that exclusive content directly to her YouTube channel as well. You could even go like really far on it, and she could start something through like Uscreen, for example, to where she starts a Uscreen channel and then tries to drive people over there as the means to support over there, and then they can get a bunch of exclusive content, exclusive live streams and things like that, and actually grow her community through Uscreen as an example. So you can do that kind of stuff as well. But in terms of setting it up the right way, you just got to make sure that you're clear on the value that you're providing to the people that are going to be joining, and then you just got to make sure that you continually provide that value, and then of course you got to make sure that you think of the platform that you're going to be doing it on. Annette,
Welcome to the Nimminati.
welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure next time you get the chance that you go to nimminvip.com. That is our members-only Facebook group. When you go there, make sure you fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a member on the way in there. So let's see here. Let me scroll down here and then scroll up so I can find this one. Photoshop Amateur.
Super
Says,
Chat.
Nick, I noticed you are using StreamYard. Absolutely. How are you incorporating the Super Chat sound effects in StreamYard? So this box right here, let me put it on this this thing, and it'll keep switching. So I'll try to just keep hitting it. But basically this machine over here, device, whatever you want to call it, this is called a Rodecaster Pro. And within this Rodecaster, you know, I need just like a little gear cam. I had the overhead cam, but I took that one down. But anyway, with this Rodecaster, it has 8 of these pads on here, and with these pads, you can just tap on them, and it'll trigger whatever sound effects. And it also has multiple pages. So like this one, for example, is just like the sound effects for the show. So I've got.
Thanks for watching Nimmin Live. Remember to check out our spot.
So I've got that on there, which is like a thing to play at the end. I've got this one.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to
Right, to remind people to like. I've got this. Right, to congratulate people on stuff. I've got this.
Welcome to the Nimminati Chill Mode.
Right, for when we go into chill mode, I've got this little drum thing there. I've got this for the Nimminati. I've got this for super chat, and then I've got that for a drum roll. Now, another thing that I have is, let's see here, since you can do the multiple pages on here, another really cool thing is like, for example, Brian was going to come on, but since he's not here, I'll just go ahead and play his thing. But like, this is Brian's sound effect for when he does come on.
To help you stake your claim and amplify your message on YouTube, I bring you the one, the only, Brian G. Johnson.
But, you know, I've got those for different guests that come on. So if Roberto ends up hopping on here, then, you know, you'll hear his in just a minute as well. But basically, you know, this Rodecaster is what makes that possible. But it's made by Rode, and it's called a Rodecaster Pro. But in addition to the sound effects, another cool thing about this is it also processes your voice. So you can adjust it to where it kind of cuts down on the noise, and it adds like a little bit of high end, a little bit of low end, some dynamics processing, all kinds of stuff. But it also helps make your voice sound good when you're live streaming. Good and relatively consistent. Okay, so the next question that we have here, we did the ASMR. Okay, we did that one. I think, did we answer this question? Okay, we didn't. Okay, so the question here, and this one's from the forum, is from Artifact ASMR. Andrew Can in the house. What is up, my dude? Hope that you are doing fantastic today. Artifact ASMR. They say the goal of the channel is to help people relax, sleep, and experience the ASMR sensation by creating videos with beautiful vintage aesthetics. And the question, is there a way to optimize using shorts to bring traffic to the regular videos on a channel? Like using a clip from a longer video as a trailer? Should multiple shorts per longer video be created? And is there an optimal time to publish them in relation to the longer content? So what you want to think about is when it comes to the shorts, make content that's appropriate from the short shelf. It's not made for commercials, it's made for content. So because of that, if you want your content to perform well in shorts to where it gets in front of more people in shorts in the short shelf, then you need to make content for the short shelf, right? In terms of getting people over to the other channel, what I would do is, or what I'm telling you to do is make sure that you put a call to action in there somewhere to remind them to subscribe. Because if they're watching the shorts, they're enjoying the short, they're subscribing, then they're interacting with that content more than just kind of passing by, right? So, so because of that, you're increasing the likelihood of YouTube showing your content to them on their homepage and next to other videos because they're interacting with your stuff. So when that happens, then it's going to come down to you being able to get them to come up with topics that they're interested in, and also, you know, being able to get them to click. So you just want to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing in shorts, that matches the type of content that you're putting on your main channel as well, in terms of the audience that you're trying to reach with both. Let's see here, really quick. Super chat came in. Let me take care of that. Oop. See, look what I just did there. Let's back a page.
Super Chat.
So, First Class Gamer says, I hope everyone's staying safe. I lost my niece due to COVID. Oh, man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Her last recording was helping me produce a video. I promise I'll be as successful YouTube as I has the same faith in you, everyone, to be successful. So, First Class Gamer, super super sorry for your loss there with your niece. And I like that you're using that as an opportunity to stake your claim of sorts, like Brian would say. But yeah, man, super sorry to hear about your niece. Not even sure how to like respond to that one, right? So super sorry to hear about that.
Super Chat.
A Bit of Wonder says, I have an exploration channel. I create virtual wonders or walks, windshields, dash cam, and static scenes. Does having 3 main types of content hurt my growth potential? No, because basically you're just kind of showing people the world through your eyes. I think that's actually kind of a clever approach. And one thing that I do recommend, though, is that you start paying attention to what people respond to better. So if you find that the virtual walks is something that gets more people, involved and they're, watching those more, they're commenting more and all that. If you find that they enjoy those more than like the dash cam videos, then I would make more of those and less of the dash cam videos. If you find that they respond better to the dash cam videos than the walk videos, then I would make more of those and just kind of rinse and repeat that exercise. But basically, you can figure this out by looking at each individual video as they perform, or you can use the grouping feature inside of your YouTube analytics to where as you're publishing, like, hey, I've got 10 videos of the walking stuff. I've got 10 videos of the virtual dash cam stuff, and I've got 10 of the static window scenes. Let me group all these together and see if I can uncover which one people click on more, which ones people are watching for a longer period of time, which ones are generating more subscribers. If you're in the partner program, which ones are generating more ad revenue if you're trying to make more money from ads. And then using that information through those group comparisons, then you're going to be able to figure out which content set actually ends up, driving you closer to your goals based on how people are responding to each one of those. So that's the approach that you want to take with those. Let's see here. So we also have Turbo
Super
Tech
Chat.
Nerd. Thank you for the super chat as well. Says, are you ready to love stream with me about your gear? Yes. Yeah. So basically I'm going to be streaming with him sometime here in the near future. Basically just sharing, the gear that I have on here, and all of that, the things that I use to make videos and live streams as well. So yes, we will do that soon. You talked about the sounds in the Rodecaster Pro. How do you create the ones where someone is speaking? Do you hire out for the voices? So for some of them, like this one.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
This is done by Travis MCP. He's MVP in our world, but his YouTube channel name is Travis MCP. But basically he made this one and he made the chill mode and the super chat.
Super Chat.
But this one,
If you're enjoying
that one,
thanks for watching.
that one, and a handful of other ones that I actually don't have in here. Those are made by Mike Russell over at musicradiocreative.com. Him and his wife Isabella, they have like a whole company doing like voiceovers and doing like stingers and all kinds of, like little clip things like I use here. So if you go to musicradiocreative.com, then you'll be able to see the packages that they offer for the things that they're doing there. But you can do them yourself if you want to. But I think, my personal belief on this is it just adds a little bit to it when it's somebody else's voice other than your own. So of course your call completely. But with that, when you do go to Music Radio Creative, for example, like with this one.
If you're enjoying the show.
So the beat in the background, I made that beat, right? So that's actually my instrumental, but all the like all the effect glitchy type sounds, those are his. So basically, he added those. But this one.
Thanks for watching Nimmin Live. Remember to
The music in the background of that one is his. So all the glitchy sound effects, the music in the background, the voiceover, all that is his. So you can order all of that stuff over there. But it's Music Radio Creative is the place for that. A Plus Russian
Super
says,
Chat.
thank you and others in your niche. I reached 500 subscribers yesterday. High five and fist bump to you. Congratulations on your first 500 subscribers. I'm pumped to see you reach 500,000 subscribers on your channel. But it says, I upload every 5 days, so no regular upload day. Is that hurting my growth? No, as long as people just respond to your videos, that's what's most important. However, I recommend that you do pick a day of the week and you just consistently upload on that day if you can. So the reason for that is just so that you can start to just get into a rhythm of sorts you already are if you're doing every 5 days, but that'll give you just like a little bit of a break as well, to where you can just go ahead and be like, okay, I know that I'm publishing like every Monday as an example, and just start publishing on that particular day consistently like clockwork over a decent period of time, and that's going to help you in terms of just locking in your workflow, but it's also going to help in terms of viewers knowing exactly when it is that you're going to be publishing content for those people that will be excited to, hurry up and, come and get their lessons from you. So, so keep that in mind as well. Let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list, let me take that banner down. I'm not sure how that's still on there. About that RV life.
Super
Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Neil, Urban Van Life. What's up, my dude? Beanie Draws in the house. What's up, my dude? Hope that you're doing awesome. It's been a while. So next up on our list here, I'm going to pull this one from the forum, and then we're going to jump back into the chat. So this one's from Dami Rain. Dami Rain says that they are a gamer, and the goal of the channel is to be a gamer and make thumbnails better. The question, I got a little views because of my video. What can I do? Make another video, learn from the video that you published, make another video so that you can, make sure that you are giving yourself, enough content that's out there to give yourself a chance. That's what you want to do. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the one, the only Andrew Can joining us today. Andrew, what's up, my man?
Hello, Nick. Great to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Looking good there. Looking dapper here on the show today, man. Looking good, man.
Well,
how you doing, Andrew?
I am doing well.
I'm
hearing myself, though. Need to figure out what
so Andrew, so he has content on his channel. Basically, he also does like YouTube related content. Like if you're creating content, you should be subscribed to his YouTube channel. I think I've got a link to him down in the description. If not, Doug, if you could just drop a link over there, or somebody, if you could just drop a link to his channel. But he is extremely knowledgeable when it comes to YouTube. He's worked with tons of large content creators and companies. He's worked with tons of smaller content creators, really knows his stuff when he comes to YouTube. Currently, he does other things like professionally, but he still comes back and makes videos for his YouTube channel to serve the content creator community just because he loves YouTube, loves content creators, and he wants to give that value back to them. So, Andrew, want to answer some questions, man?
Yeah, of course. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah, we've got about like 15 minutes or so left here in the show. Yeah, so Doug's saying that you are echoing a little bit, so let me turn my mix minus on here really quick to make sure that you are good there. 1 second. Okay, that should take out the music from the browser, and then that should be us, so we should be good there. So the question here, the first one we're gonna take here, I'm just gonna go into lightning round here on the question. So the first one here is from Mr. May, says, better if a thumbnail tells everything about the video or if it just gets attention and then a viewer has to read the title to figure out the video. So give your thoughts, Andrew, and then I'll give mine in the follow-up.
I often say that when it comes to thumbnails, you want to be compelling. And if you tell everything that's going to be happening in the video in the thumbnail, like the secret to life,
watch the video.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, oh, if you're like, how to earn $100,000 investing, I'm like, well, I know that answer, so I'm going to keep going. But there are different ways you can hit it, right? Like this one secret helped me make $100,000 is way more compelling than just saying investing is how I earned $100,000. And so obviously there doesn't have to be money. It's like how to make your food taste better with this one ingredient. Well, if you put salt is the one ingredient you should try to make your food taste better, that's not as interesting as, well, what is that one ingredient that's going to make it taste better? So you don't want to spoil too much with the thumbnail. You want to create intrigue, but also gain interest. Nick, I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, so what you want to think about as well as everything that Andrew just mentioned is basically you want to think when it comes to your thumbnail, you want to think of step one, is this going to grab somebody's attention? Yes or no? In terms of just the colors you're using, the imagery that you're using, how in their face it is, or just what it is that you're showing. Is it going to grab their attention? Is there any type of point in there, depending on the content, the type of content that you make, is there like a point where something's getting ready to happen to where somebody would need to click on the video to where it's like, oh, I want to see what happens here, right? You got to think about stuff like that. And depending on the content that you're making or the content type that you're making, you also want to think about if your thumbnail helps the people that you're trying to reach identify that your content is something that they might care about, right? So the example that I like to give for this, and those of you that hang out here all the time, you've heard me say this a bunch, but the idea is even if let's say you make content about baseball, And if you're in this environment, right, like you're just sitting in an environment just like mine or Andrew's, and you're just talking about baseball, you might think like, hey, I'll just put myself in the thumbnail, maybe just put some words on there about, my channel or, something else. But what you want to think about is somebody that's interested in baseball, all of that information that they're going to be seeing in your thumbnail might not be enough to help them identify at a glance without having to examine what's going on. That might not be enough at a glance to help them identify that that piece of content might be something that they're interested in. So because of that, you want to use baseball imagery in your thumbnail in order to help that person that's interested in baseball be able, as they're sitting there going through the grid on a computer or as they're sitting there scrolling through their phone, that baseball imagery is like, oh, hey, I'm interested in baseball. And then they have this, thumbnail that has something, some baseball imagery. And it's like, hey, bam, they don't even have to think about it. They already know that this is something that they might be interested in. And then therefore they'll look at the title from there and they'll be like, oh, okay, what's going on? What's this about? And then they'll look further. So because of that, you want to make sure when you're putting your thumbnails together that you're running through that exercise of, how can I help people identify this is for them? Is there anything that I can do here? If you're doing like entertainment or prank content, then you want to start thinking like, hey, are there any gaps that I can create here, any information gaps to where I'm starting to kind of predict a story or starting to tell the story within the thumbnail, but they're going to need to click on the video to see what actually happens. So for example, that thing could be, let's say you're doing like prank videos. Then in that particular case, I'm sure you've seen like the gold digger videos and all that stuff to where it's just like a dude, leaning against a Lamborghini. And then you see some woman walking by to where he's trying to grab their attention. Well, that's an interesting thumbnail because, in that case, it's like, oh, I wonder if she is a gold digger. Like, I wonder if she's going to respond to that. So it creates that information gap. So you just want to think about all those types of things when it comes to your thumbnail.
100%.
Next question on our list is, if you have a question, make sure you put a Q in front of it. And the next one here, as I scroll down here, is going to be, I do hair tutorial myself and for my 3 years. But when it comes about my little one, I always click this content made for kids. So is that correct? Okay, so if you're targeting kids with the content, like if you're wanting kids to watch, that's where you want to make sure that you mark that it's for kids. Now within that, if you do have really young people in your video, then in that case, you might want to go ahead and mark it for kids as well, just for the sake of making sure that you are, being compliant in terms of YouTube, but also just to make sure that that it's not getting shown to, people that you might not necessarily want to see it, so to speak. 1 minute of randomness. This one's on you, Andrew. Says, I want to make animation shorts, but my top 6 most viewed videos are all for fun DIY tech animal videos. I only have 53 subscribers. Should I delete the non-related videos in the future?
If you're pivoting and you have that, your 6 most viewed are your for fun DIY tech animal videos, have you made any animation shorts at the moment? And if you haven't, why not make a new channel since YouTube already has data on those 6 other videos? You absolutely can remove them. I was just curious on if you just like the name of the channel, maybe that's it. But with what I'm understanding, 53 subs, you don't even have like your custom URL yet. So you still have like a lot of flexibility and freedom to what you can do here. So I'm just curious, why not make a new channel unless you just really like that channel? So I'm curious what you think, Nick.
Yeah. So if you want to make animation shorts, then stop making the other stuff. Just make animation shorts. Like if that's what you want to do, then start, just start doing more of what it is that you want to do. Because, like YouTube is a long game and sustainability is really important.
At last, the Sith Lord of YouTube, Roberto Blake.
Roberto Blake.
Good morning, gentlemen, and good morning, YouTube. What's
up, my dude? It's been a while. How are you, Mr. Blake?
Yeah, no, I'm doing all right. How's my audio coming in?
Sounds good to me, but like my monitors, like I don't have the setup that I used to here, so I just have it coming through these like crummy little like monitors, kind of like stuffed behind the monitor right now. So, so I'm probably not the best gauge for the audio quality, but hopefully we'll get some feedback.
Well, Andrew, you have the cans on. How's it coming through on your end?
It does sound good. Maybe a little hot, but other than that, better than
a little hot. What if I just turn it down just a hair here? What about now?
Much better to me. But
much better to you? That sounds good. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
People are saying audio is good.
All right, perfect. Yeah, no, I went through like the trouble the other day of spending like an hour just going through Rodecaster Pro tutorials and settings and like actually learning audio engineering for like an hour and a half. So yeah.
Hey man, I can send you. I think I've done this in the past a long time ago, but I can.
Yeah, but I had to modulate it more for my voice.
Oh, got it. Okay. So you ready to answer some questions here, Mr. Blake?
Happy to.
All right. So the let's see here. So the next one we have is from Ziffles. It says, do you have any tips for live streaming overlays and such? Like, how do I add more things to the stream so it's not boring? So on this one, for live streaming overlays, just as a quick heads up, if you go to streamertemplates.com, that's my brother's website. He has some pre-made stuff there. It all looks super pro, and it's really easy to customize using Photo P. So you can definitely check that out. But in addition to that, all of those things, when you add them to the stream, it's not necessarily that those things make the stream less boring. It actually comes down to you, really, because, you can have as much flashy stuff on the screen as you want to, but when it comes to the actual content, that's what is boring or not. So because of that, if you want to be less boring in your stream, then I would start actually watching videos on like presentation, on, charisma, on things like that, so that you can, try to just be more engaging yourself. And then you would just have those things as a complement versus trying to use those things as a means to kind of carry the weight, so to speak, for the stream. Thoughts, fellas?
No, I agree with you there.
I think you could, and I've been doing this with my Monday through Friday podcast. For those of you who want to check it out, you just type in Roberto Blake podcast into YouTube and you'll find it. On the audio side, just to create something awesome today podcast. But I've been streaming
Great
like Monday
podcast,
through.
By the way.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be doing it back. I actually enjoy it more than making regular videos now. But being a streamer with a podcast, I've been realizing that, you can, even without doing interviews, you can just carry a podcast by being engaging. I mean, look at Nick. Nick doesn't always do a bunch of graphics and visuals. It's mostly the sponsor plugs, and it's audio design probably on his part more than anything, even without this being an audio show, even though I know you're putting these out now for people who want that. But the thing that I would definitely say is that you can carry, even with my regular YouTube videos, I've realized that you could just carry it with your performance and with being engaging and with getting the pacing right and with understanding what topic is going to hold people's attention in the first place. So I would say with streaming, it's more about your presence, the segments, clear audio quality. And also, I mean, if you want to get fancy, the fanciest thing I do is the camera switching, just like you, Nick, and beyond that, set design, but that's it. You don't even need to do that, though. I see streamers all the time on Twitch that can carry an audience for 8 hours without being fancy. Some of them have like actually really bad design in terms of a lot of their graphics and their overlays, and a lot of it's actually really god awful, and it still works out. So I would argue everything I see with watch time and retention says be engaging. Even with my edits now, I'm realizing I don't need to do as much cuts or something like that. And when I do, I'm just going to use vidcharge.com because, by the way, Nick, I got something going on now to where I'm basically just going to hire you guys to where I'm just going to hire you guys to edit my videos. I'm just going to shoot stuff and you guys can edit it.
Nice. Yeah, I'll hit you up on that. I'll hit you up on that this coming week.
Yep.
So next up, our next question here is how to improve titles for YouTube search.
Make a title that you would actually click on, topic title, thumbnail. What I would say is, look, if you just, here's the real problem, Nick and Andrew, and tell me if I'm wrong. Most people, they're just not copywriters, they're just not headline writers, and they just usually can't come up with stuff and everything like that. So I'm going to tell you guys a trick you can use if I want, because a lot of you are just going to say, oh, that's cheating or that's copying people. Just find a video that has 1 million to 5 million views in your niche. Don't copy the video, but do basically look at the headline and say, I'm going to do a very, very similar headline. I'm going to do something that's 80, 90% the same as that headline. Then you're going to need to make a thumbnail equal to or better, not the same thumbnail, equal to or better than that thumbnail. Make a title that's similar to that title because someone already did the research for you. And if you're a small YouTuber, if you get 1% of the success of somebody that's getting 5 million to 1 million viewers, I don't care how many subscribers they have. It doesn't matter if no one wants to watch that topic. So if you get 1% of a video that has 5 million to 1 million to 5 million views, you're going to get 10,000 to 50,000 views. And for most of y'all, that would be a dream come true. That'd probably be your most watched video. So if you just get 1% of that same success, you're qualifying the topic, you are qualifying the title. There is a guarantee that there is an existing audience that is interested in this thing. And that would be a start for some of y'all because you just haven't practiced ever writing effective headlines.
So
think-
really quick,
ahead.
Ellen D. Holmes says, for anyone, a question for anyone, I just became a channel member. How do I get into the Facebook group? So you want to go to nimminvip.com. That's going to redirect you to the members only Facebook group. Fill out all the questions on the way in because that's how I verify that you're a member. If you can do that for the streams over here within the next like handful of minutes, then I will get you in there as soon as the stream is over today.
By the way, anyone saying copying sucks or too many of y'all are doing everything like that, there's not a single original idea on YouTube except for maybe like Mr. Beast and Mark Rober, because Mr. Beast is an insane creative genius and Mark Rober is an engineer and you can't copy him because you don't have the science background, nor can you afford to. The only people, I'll tell you guys a harsh truth. You want to do original content on YouTube, be a genius, be a specialist, or be rich. Because none of you are going to come up with an original idea for the most part. And if you come up with an original idea, it doesn't mean that anybody wants to watch it. You guys want to be clever? Don't cry to me if you get 10 views. But if you want to get people to pay attention to you, don't copy their video. Don't copy their thumbnail, but be inspired by the thumbnail. And as far as the headline, the title, all you're doing is qualifying an idea. You can make the video 100% your own. You know how many people, you realize that there's no, guys, we all make the same titles for videos and we change one or two words. Graham, Stefan, Andre, Jeek, and Meet Kevin and Financial Education Jeremy make all the same titles and they drop the same type of video in the same week.
Yeah.
Come on.
I love how Roberto comes on and just starts attacking. I love it.
Yeah, no, I woke
I
up
love
this
you,
morning and
Roberto.
chose violence.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, absolutely love it.
But I think to Roberto's point, what you're really identifying though is like what those successful videos are doing well is they're identifying things that your audience that matches that creator cares about. And I think that is what a successful thumbnail and title combination does is it matches the interest of your audience. You keep that audience first. So when it comes to, thinking of YouTube titles, think, would this interest my audience? And I think that's something Mr. Beast does very well. To your example, Roberto,
1000%.
I think that it's something that a lot of people struggle with because they're thinking so much of it as a technical point instead of like, what can I do to make this not only relevant but interesting, right? And there's so many different ways you can do that. And even though the titles you mentioned of I call them the home buying crew there, which is like Graham Stephan and like Andre Jeek and all of them, what they do and what they focus on is, yes, it's similar, but they find different angles. And that's the genius and beauty of any different niche is your perspective. And it's how do you find a way to make your perspective interesting to an audience?
And they'll each use their expertise to make the twist.
Exactly. And that takes time. Like I'm sure when Nick started, and Nick, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if you were starting with like what you are titling now, and that's growth in what you've learned, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. When I started, I had no idea what I was doing. One advantage that I did have is that, in addition to the design stuff, is that as part of the freelance stuff that I did before, I also, when you freelance, one of the things that you will often do is client will hit you up and they'll be like, hey, do you know anybody that does this? And if you're like, hey, I can figure it out and I can do it. So I had to learn about optimizing for search and things like that. But because of that helped me come onto YouTube and be able to search target videos really well, because, I had that experience. But in terms of, being able to, get people to click more from the homepage, I'm way better at that now than night and day than I was when I first started, of course. Just because, those are things that you just learn over time and, just through experimentation and testing. You can experiment with the ways that you're putting your titles together, and eventually things will start making sense to where you'll be like, you know what? It seems like when I, come at it from this angle, people respond to this. And then you'll test it and they'll just keep responding to it. And then you basically just kind of rinse and repeat that over and over again and just try to do it in different ways.
I'll give you a primary example. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll give you a primary example. Nick, you did the video that we all are going to make this year, how to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Do you know I can make 5 variations of that exact same video? And it's not even like hard for me. Watch this. With my videos, we've seen that I've been successful when I use the word or the phrase exactly how to do something and use the word exactly in capitals. So guess what I'm going to do? Exactly how to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube in 2022. Watch this one. I have another title. How to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube in 2022, fast AF. And in parentheses, the fast AF. Watch this. How to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube in 2022, 15 tips for small YouTubers. I've just done 3 different title variations. I could easily come up with 2 more on literally the exact same thing. And the thing is, it would be my take and it would be radically different. If I do 15 tips, it's going to take me longer probably than you did a 16-minute video. My video is going to be a 22. There are clear delineations there because, one, I'm giving a specific guaranteed number of tips. That is the guaranteed payoff. As Mr. Beast would say, there's a built-in payoff into the title. So another tip for all of you is look at how to add a payoff into the title. Even if you were going to look at somebody else's title, is there a unique thing about you that where you can promise a different unique payoff? Or is there something also that you're associated with and known with? I've started, you guys may have noticed this, I've started making myself the 15 tips guy. Like for something I cover, I can, oh, here's 15 tips on it, which means I'm using my long form content advantage reputation to say, I am the deep dive. I'm the deep dive. I am not the short, like the shortest video in any subject. You see what I'm saying? Make a clear distinction between you and the other people in your niche. But that distinction isn't necessarily your titles unless you start to make a title formula that then you become known for. Graham Stephan's a great example of doing it effectively. Mr. Beast is an example of doing it effectively. And Philip DeFranco is an example of doing it effectively.
Next question.
Super
Gamers
chat.
Effects says, my audience retention in the dashboard is starting to increase with videos less than 10 minutes. Does it trigger the algorithm for YouTube to add the recommended feed? Thanks for your great tips. So basically, when it comes to YouTube, everything is based on overall response. So of course, the click-through rate and the average view duration, that carries the most weight. But ultimately, what YouTube is looking for is, are people satisfied with the video or not? Some of the ways that they detect that satisfaction is, of course, asking them through surveys later, but at scale, it's not that great. But in terms of, understanding that, they're also looking at the additional engagement that happens. So how can you identify if somebody enjoys something if they're watching it? So of course, how long they watch it matters. If they further engage with it in terms of liking it or commenting on it or sharing it or adding it to a playlist, that kind of stuff, is an indicator. In addition to that, if somebody makes it to the end of a video and they click on another video that's in the end screen, then of course it's like, oh, hey, this person's wanting more. So they're clearly satisfied with this content if they're wanting to watch more of it. Same exact thing goes if they end up clicking on your channel name, going to your channel page and, looking around there and going deeper into your content from there. Like all of these little details are painting a picture for YouTube's algorithms to let them know, like, hey, this is how people are responding to this content and they're enjoying it, yes or no. And the more yeses that you're getting there, then that helps YouTube better fine tune, like, hey, this is the type of viewer that's enjoying this content. And then you'll start getting, more views from it. So absolutely, those types of things help. I wouldn't call it like trigger, but they help YouTube understand that people are enjoying the content. And ultimately, as long as people are enjoying the content, that's what ends up, triggering the algorithm of sorts, if you want to use that language, to show the content to more people. But at the end of the day, if you're getting them to click, you're getting them to enjoy the content and further engage, then that's just like the formula, so to speak, in terms of, getting YouTube to give your videos more impressions. And as long as you can keep that happening over and over again to where YouTube keeps giving you more impressions, people keep responding at a positive rate, then your videos are going to continue to get views over time.
I would also
Any additional thoughts?
Look at the exit rate of your videos and also consider end card strategy and really look at keeping the percentage of viewers. Average view duration and percentage view is great, but Mr. Beast, one of the things he taught us at multiple times at different events was when he was showing us analytics, was talking about the percentage of people that complete watching a video and getting that high. And then you want to make sure that the handoff to watching another video is successful.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, really quick feedback here. History Explained, and thanks for the super chat, by the way. Because I took my 6-month-old video, and this is just some insight for everybody here. Says, I took my 6-month-old video on Nefertiti's life from 20,000 views to 1 million views in only 2 weeks by changing the title to be more interesting. It really works. Yeah, like that's the important thing about just making sure that, you know, as you're putting all of your, you know, information together, even at the topic level, like all the way through, that you're thinking through, like, how can I make this as compelling, you know, as possible for the people that are going to be interacting with this. So on that note,
Go ahead.
and I know you guys just came on, and I hate to do this, but you know, we're at the end of the stream time today. So so Roberto and Andrew, thank you so much for coming on today, even though we just got through like a few questions here. So for Andrew Can, you can, if you go to YouTube search and you look for Andrew Can with a K, then his content will show up there. I would definitely recommend that you go over there and check those out. For Roberto, of course, you can look for his channel here on YouTube under Roberto Blake. I've got a link. I know for a fact I've got a link to him down there. And I've got a link to, or I don't have the link, but you can also look for his podcast, Roberto Blake Podcast, and it'll show up there. And then, of course, Roberto offers one-on-one consulting and group consulting as well. And you can find all of that at the information on the screen here at awesomecreatoracademy.com. So thank you, fellas, for coming on today. Wish we had a little bit more, a little bit longer for the conversation, but we'll pick up that, you know, at least our version of it, you know, after the stream is over. But thank you, everybody, for hanging out in the stream today. And look, if you're just getting started, you know, like there's a lot of information shared during these live streams. So if you're just getting started, if any of this seems overwhelming, I just want you to know that, you know, the more that you're, you know, learning all of this stuff, and, you know, with every video that you watch of my content or somebody else's, or every blog you read, whatever it is about YouTube, you're going to get more familiar with the things, you know, related, the language and the information related to YouTube. But the thing that's going to make the difference is if you apply the things that you learn. So because of that, if any of it seemed intimidating, or if it seemed, you know, just kind of like, hey, I don't even know what an audience retention report is, anything like that, then make a note of it right now, so that once the stream is over, you can go and hop on Google, audience retention reports. What is that? And you can start looking around and figuring out, you know, what some of these things are. But again, most importantly is taking action on some of the things that you hear. So if there's anything that resonated with you today to where like, oh, I would give that a shot, take a note on it and start, you know, trying to work on that, you know, with the next pieces of content that you are putting out on your channel. So again, thank you everybody for hanging out, and have an awesome rest of your weekend. And I will see you here next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, just like I am every Saturday. And have an awesome rest of your week, and I will see you next time.